Yeah, we are in the building. You got to be shitting me. On my off day, I'm working. Hey, it is what it is. I called Bailey and said, hey, man, wake up. Let's do a show. Why not? I was supposed to go to Arizona today. I'm not going today. So I said, fuck it. Let's do a show. And guess what? Why not? You know why? Because today is the beginning of NFL free agency. So who better to break news than myself with my main man, this week's co-host extraordinaire from the Slap Nation show. If you guys tuned in yesterday, we had a good showing for the first live show on Slap Nation. My main man, producer extraordinaire, Bailey, joining us. Bailey, what up,
Tuesday.
Bailey?
Happy Tuesday.
Pop in, Bailey. This is a ad-lib free game Tuesday show. Listen. Today, February 18th, teams may use the franchise tag or what we call a transition tag on players. The tag is a one-year contract worth either the average of the top 5 salaries at the player's position or 120% of his previous salary, whichever costs more. So today it starts, February 18th. It ends in 2 weeks, March 4th. On a Tuesday, and this particular free agent tagging scenario is a 2-week process every year, and this is a tag destination or tag designation era, and people can be tagged starting today, Bailey, going all the way till March 4th, and then March 12th, the NFL free agency year begins, 4 p.m. Eastern on March 12th. So I'm thinking about getting some slapdick whiskey going back, Bailey. I think I'm going to start back the slapdick whiskey that went so well. Everybody loved. 2020 Whiskey of the Year, by the way. Shout out. I'm thinking about bringing this bitch back. I might bring it back, man. Fuck it. Why not? Might have to bring it back. But, Bailey, we're
in the building.
Free agency, man. NFL free agent quarterback destinations.
Yeah. Before we talk quarterbacks, obviously, we're going to focus this show on free agent quarterback landing spots. Coach, I got to ask you about somebody who could be tagged here in the next few days. Tee Higgins. I don't know if you saw Tee Higgins' mom tweet out selfish bastards. I don't know what this is referring to, if this is some contract struggles with Cincinnati, but Coach, what do you think the Bengals should do with Tee Higgins? Let him go or tag him or sign him to a long-term deal?
See, I was all for Tee Higgins re-signing with Joe Burrow, man, and making that shit great. Yeah. But now I'd cut that motherfucker. I'd cut his bitch ass because these fucking shit bird parents need to go away somewhere. This ain't high school mom. This ain't junior high mom. This ain't Pop Warner mom. Shut the fuck up, mom, and take your ass in the back somewhere and bake me a motherfucking cake. Stop talking shit to grown fucking franchises who gonna pay your son generational wealth. They're gonna change your whole fucking life, and you want to talk shit about it, and you've never done nothing. You've never had anything in your life, and you're about to have your whole fucking world upside down, but you want to go out and talk shit about a franchise that could possibly pay him $100+ million. You want to get out there and talk shit already. Like, it makes zero sense to me. If that was my mom, I'd cuss her ass out and had her delete that shit immediately. I'd have called the franchise, man, my mom's fucking around. She's drunk off the yak. I would have made up something. This shit is ridiculous. Ridiculous. I would let his ass go. Fucking go. You want to go play with fucking Sunshine in Jacksonville and catch 30 rocks.
Right. I mean, let me ask you about Tee Higgins because I'm with you. I think what you initially thought. I think the Bengals should keep him. I think he's a hell of a player. He's a freak athlete. Went to Oak Ridge High School out here in Knoxville. But I gotta ask you, you think they should cut him now because of his mom's antics? You really think that? What is he gonna do? Like, yeah, I agree with you. He should probably say, "Mom, don't tweet that shit." But you think they should cut him just because of that, or what else?
They're not gonna cut him. But I'm just saying, I don't think it would help the negotiating tactics.
No, definitely not.
I don't think it helps. Do you cut them? No, but I would have a sit down with them and say, you know what, man? Before your mom tweeted out that we're a shitbird, selfish organization, we were going to give you 150. Now I'm going to let you go and shop the market. And see his jaw drop. See his fucking jaw drop. The ownership, if you haven't noticed, with the Luka trade and the AD trade and these other people out here scared as fuck about possibly getting their shit taken back by the ownership groups and the coaches trying to take the reins back and the powers back. I would make that statement again. This is the year of the owner. We're going to get it back. We're taking back the league. You enabled title league crybaby fucks aren't going to get your way anymore. So earn your keep and shut the fuck up. And listen, bottom line is, Mom, this ain't Pop Warner. Take your ass somewhere and sit down and enjoy the fruits of your labor, because you birthed this kid, and guess what? He's going to take care of you, Mom. But this right here is a deterrent. And I would tell him, you know what? Go shop the market and then go play with a quarterback. By the way, you're not going to Kansas City. You're not going to fucking the Rams, probably. You're not going to go to Baltimore. You're not going to go to, like, how many legit quarterbacks are there? There's not a lot in the NFL, by the way. You're not going to go to any of them. And you're going to leave Joe Burrow because your mom's fucking selfish ass tweet. By the way, you should have a mirror on that tweet and look at your motherfucking self, because your ass is selfish for tweeting this dumbass shit out, Mom. So that's true. I'm just saying, it is what it is. Shout out to you're in the house. Coach JB doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. But you're here listening at 6 a.m, you fucking bitch boy. So glad you're here. Glad you're here. You're fucking nobody. And shout out to you. But this is live, Mill Best. You see me live. I'm live, motherfucker. Woo!
This is live.
It is live, man. We're doing a free ad-lib show just because today is the day, February 18th, that teams can franchise or transition tag players. And so this is a 2-week open window. And then there's another basically week off, and then free agency begins on March 12th. So we want to be the first one to break any news that happens today. If anything happens, we're going to break it and we're going to discuss it. And if something happens later on, shout out Mill Best. Appreciate you watching the LA show. Yesterday was the first show for that. If something breaks off, Bailey, today, we'll talk about it first. We'll be the first one to talk about it.
Exactly. Well, Coach, let's get into some QB landing spots here and kind of discuss this. Let's waste no further time. I got to ask you about your boy Sam Darnold. Should he stay in Minnesota? Should Minnesota keep him? Is there a landing spot that you see out there that is, that you feel is best for him, best fit for him? What are your thoughts? Listen,
Bailey and I we didn't do a rundown, breakdown. We just thought about this early this morning, and we said, fuck it, let's do a show. So we're going to be all over the place with these things. So Sam Darnold, Bailey knows I revere. I think he's better than people think. But Bailey, I want to ask you something. I want to circle back real quick.
Go ahead.
I want to take this off the rail real quick for a minute. The discussion out here on the West Coast, since we did an LA show yesterday, Slap Nation's first show that did well, is Matthew Stafford being offered trade picks and some compensation to go to the New York Giants.
Right. Yeah.
I want to talk about that real quick because I think it affects Sam Darnold, Aaron Rodgers, Daniel Jones, Kirk Cousins, Russell Wilson, Jameis Winston. I think this affects all that. And this is what I would do. If I'm a Giant fan, I want to give you both perspectives. I want to give you organizational perspective and player perspective. If I'm a Giants organization fan, and I'm a fan of the Giants, I would say to the Giants, listen, we flew banners over the stadium last year to get rid of your ass owner. The owner, Mara, you had banners flying over how bad the organization has fallen. And Brian Daboll trying to get fired and all these things. Here's what I think we do. If I'm and Bailey are Giant fans, I'm yelling at Mara to say, don't give up draft capital. Don't give up any picks for Matthew Stafford. Here's why.
Why?
If I'm a Giant fan, I'd rather do a one and done with a guy like Aaron Rodgers and not give up anything than I would giving up a bunch of shit for a 36-year-old Matthew Stafford, who I regard as the best ball spinner in football. But if I'm a Giants organizational fan that I think I want to see the Giants succeed in the future, this will set you back even further. If you give up a third pick, your top first round picks plus future picks to get Matthew Stafford, I would say no. I would say go with an Aaron Rodgers for a year, Kirk Cousins even.
Russell Wilson, yeah, anybody.
Sam Darnold. I would take any of those guys before I gave up future capital, because I'm just telling you right now, the Giants are only going to set themselves up even in a bigger hole. I would just go grab an older guy like Aaron Rodgers, Kirk Cousins, just for 1 year and keep building their roster. The Bears, to be determined, we'll put a TBD on that. I think they fucked up by getting rid of Justin Fields, getting rid of those picks, grabbing Caleb Williams, grabbing Nadu. They could have had Joe Alt. They could have kept Justin Fields, and they could have better picks this year. Instead, they went with Caleb Williams, who I think is going to be a bust, and it's only going to set the Bears back more. Don't do it, New York Giants. And I'm not a Giant fan. I have no dog in the fight. I'm just drinking at both sides of this. What if I'm Matthew Stafford's camp? Why would I want to go to New York unless the number one media market in the world, I have a shitload of opportunity, sponsorship money-wise. Not that he's going to need money anyway after this deal, but his wife does a show. She gets involved in a lot of that shit. New York is New York. She's in L.A. New York and L.A. to me, if you're going to talk about money and marketing and corporations, those are one or two places you're going to go at this age. That's why LeBron came to L.A., This is why certain people move at this age and time in their age. I don't know if it makes sense for Matthew Stafford and his wife to go to New York this late in the game. I would say retire before I go to New York for that bad franchise. I think Matthew Stafford would like to win another Super Bowl, one-upping Aaron Rodgers, who was his division rival for so long on a horrible franchise in Detroit. I would think Stafford wants to win one more and say, look, I could have been better than Aaron Rodgers this whole time, but y'all never gave me surroundings that I needed to succeed. I go to the Rams year one and win the whole thing.
Right.
So
good point.
I would think Stafford wants to win. I don't think he would go to the Giants, Bailey.
No, I agree with you. And I mean, you think about the Giants, the issues that they have and the issues that they need to solve. How did the Rams lose to the Eagles? They lost because they went empty on 3rd and 1 and gave up a sack. The Giants got all kinds of line problems. I don't think Stafford at his age would want to go to a rebuilding team with offensive line problems personally. I think you make a good point there. Yeah.
I just want to throw that out there. I just wanted to throw that out there because as an organization, I wouldn't go try to get Stafford. I would go get a 1-year fix. Tell Aaron Rodgers to stay put. Don't move your house. Stay right here in New York for another year. We want you here in New York for the Giants. Come play for us for a year, and then do what you want to do. It's New York still. I think Aaron Rodgers has probably made some money in New York doing other things. I would do that if I'm the Giants. Now, what they do under Mara and what they do under this GM whose kid called Saquon Barkley a must keep, who's 8 years old. Yeah, like, come on, dog. So I believe that's what it is, and I think that's what the Giants need to do. I would focus on getting a 1-year fix and keep building your roster over fucking getting Matthew Stafford and giving up capital. So that's just me.
No, I agree with you 100%. And Stafford back to the Rams, I think him and McVay definitely can still build something there. There's a lot of opportunity in that division. I mean, I don't know how confident you are in Seattle and Mike McDonald. I don't know if I'm that confident in them. 49ers seem to be falling and kind of towards the end of their run. And
speaking of that, Bailey,
Arizona. So
Yeah, we already talked about Arizona yesterday. That's a laughable place. They got a little better last year, but, I mean, they're still light years away. Speaking of these teams, it's crazy. I just wanted to – we got a graphic out here. I wanted to discuss this because we're talking about these fan bases. There's fan bases in the chat. There's fan bases on TikTok. The best fan bases and their tiers. So based on their tier levels, Bailey, on their tiers, you agree to this right here? The best fans in the country?
Yeah.
What do you agree? Who's best fans? Detroit Lions, huh?
Man, some of those teams, I think Seattle definitely. Seattle got the loudest stadium. Them in Kansas City. I don't know.
Green Bay, I'd agree with Green Bay. I'd agree with Green Bay.
I agree with Buffalo, probably Bills Mafia.
Buffalo's not bad. They get a little shitbirdish too. Minnesota Vikings. I don't know much about their fan base. I have to ask Sean Salisbury, who played there. Detroit Lions. Were the Detroit Lions fan base good when Stafford was there and you guys were dog shit?
Yeah, that's a good point, Coach.
I'm curious. When did the Lions become the great fan base? They couldn't even stadium a couple years ago. Now all of a sudden they're the best fan base. Disagree. Cap. I'm calling it cap. Let's go to. We're gonna move these teams around, Bailey.
Yeah.
Great fans. The Saints. Yeah, I mean Katrina. Because all these hurricanes, they've always helped the people of New Orleans. I agree with that. Great fan base. The Ravens. I think the Ravens are a product of their environment, Bailey. I think the Ravens are great only because you guys have had success. You won 2 Super Bowls in the last 20 years. I think you guys are always in the playoffs. If you face any adversity, though, I could see the Ravens being in Baltimore, complete shitbird organizational fans overnight. If the Ravens became shitbirds and not really winning anything, I could see that fan base flipping overnight, similar to a Philadelphia fan base.
Would you put them in insufferable just because of your Lamar Jackson fans, and you've had a little beef with the Ravens flock over the last year or so with Lamar fans? Would you put them in insufferable?
Nah, you know what? The Ravens fans have always supported me. It's just the Lamar fans that think I'm just hating. It's only specific Lamar fans. The Ravens fans, though, have actually came at me much more, actually can have an argument and a discussion and a disagreement, other than like some of the fucking gay fan bases out here, like the Queendom. So the Bengals, great fans. I don't know. I mean, maybe. Fuck, I don't really hear much from them.
Right.
I don't really hear much from them. The Bucks, you better have a fucking good fan base. You're in Tampa Bay. You act like you're in fucking Seattle or some shithole weather town. You're in Tampa Bay. You should have a good fan base. I do not agree with the Frisco fans. The Frisco fans being great. Let me retract. I hate them because I'm a Rams guy, but I will say this. See, I'm leaning towards another. I want to add a column to this. We got to come up with our own column. And we're going to call it Fair Weather Fans.
Okay.
I'd put San Francisco in the fair weather fan base. Because during the Chip Kelly era and their down years, their fans were a bunch of shitbird, no fucking show, no name fan base. Now all of a sudden they're good fan base now? Fuck no. They're a fair weather fan base. All you guys in the chat, put your own column together. Fair weather fans. Frisco's the first one we're going to put in there. All right. Okay, fans. So we're still on great. Cleveland Browns, the Dog Pound, used to be a great fan base. I don't know if I'm not following them anymore like I used to. They used to be a great fan base. The Dog Pound, Paint Their Face. I loved their fans back in the day. Bernie Kosar days. I guess they're great fans, I guess. Houston Texans, I don't see that.
Houston, I don't know.
I don't know. Still has got to be, right?
Yeah. Titans.
I would take Detroit off of the best, and I would put Pittsburgh in the best.
Yeah, that's a good point. Tennessee, Tennessee fans love the Volunteers. I don't know how big they are on Titans, especially when they're horrible. So I don't know.
I went to a game with Eddie George a couple years back. They retired a jersey of his and some other things. Fucking place was empty. Absolute ghost town. Shit base. Shit fans. Fuck the Tennessee Titans fans. They're not great fans.
I went out there for a game too. The Wild.
I would put them as non-existent. You know what? Let's put Tennessee, since they moved from Houston, went to Nashville. We're going to put them in the fair weather fan section along with Frisco. They're going to be the second team of 5. The second team of 5 fair weather fans. Frisco's 1. We're going to put Tennessee in 2.
Okay. And how about Smitty's Colts here?
Aren't they some kind of a fair weather fan base too? Since Peyton Manning, then they shit on themselves. Andrew Luck quit on their team. By the way, Andrew Luck did the most cowardly act in the history of NFL I've ever seen, by the way, but nobody wants to talk about that. He's a coward. Indianapolis Colts, they're almost insufferable. I would take them out of great fan bases. I would actually.
Okay, maybe. Yeah.
Man, maybe okay. Okay fan bases, Bailey.
You got Miami.
Fuck no.
They're
fair weather is shit. Fair
Denver?
weather is shit. The Dolphins? No way. Denver? I would say Denver's actually probably should be maybe great fans. They'd probably be the great fan base. Take Tennessee and the Colts out. I'd bump up Denver into the great fan base.
Now this may fall under fair weather. Your LA Rams.
Third, they're the third fair weather team. Put them right in fair weather. I'm an LA Rams fan. We don't have a fan base. The Rams do not have a fan base. San Francisco comes up here to play the Rams, and the stadium at SoFi is all fucking shit, rust, piss brown.
Right.
Yeah. It's not blue and yellow. It's not blue and gold, blue and yellow, whatever the fuck. It's shitty and pissy San Francisco colors. By the way, those are shit and piss colors. So if you don't know, the Frisco Niners are shit and piss colors. So that's all SoFi is.
Yeah, I haven't noticed.
I think the Rams had some success this year, Bailey. They had some success, and then people showed up at SoFi, and then people thought, oh, the Rams are winning. That's, again, what's called a fucking fair weather fan. So I would say the LA fan base, even when the Raiders were here, I would say the Lakers, the Kings, the Dodgers, the Clippers for sure. LA in general is the most fair weather fan base in America because we have so much other shit to do. We got good pussy, great food, mountains, ocean, weather. You can drive from San Diego to San Francisco on one fucking street. Pacific Coast Highway, Highway 1, all the fucking way. No other place like that. You can't go from the beach to the snow in a matter of an hour in any other place in America and enjoy actually both. Remember with a key word there. Enjoy the snow and then go out and get in the fucking water in the Pacific Ocean. Do that somewhere else and let me know where you can do it at. I would say LA has that fan base for that reason is why they're the most fucking fair weather. So the Rams are my third team in the fair weather fan base section.
Bears?
The Bears. They're non-existent, no?
I mean, they're all right. I would put them in the okay section, though. I mean, they always seem to have a turnout no matter whether they're good or bad.
They're shit. They got an uphill battle, man.
Ben Johnson, Caleb Williams. Yeah. What about the Las Vegas Raiders now?
They're one of the worst fan bases in the NFL right now because Vegas has allowed them to be because Vegas, again, a fair weather town who never had pro sports teams until recently with the hockey, the Raiders, trying to get basketball there, trying to do all these things, trying to bring Formula One there, all the shit Vegas is trying to do. By the way, Vegas lost their ass during Super Bowl. Nobody showed up to Vegas for some reason. First time ever and you could go in there and buy a fucking hotel room at the fucking MGM anywhere for like $25-$30. I heard it was empty. So the Raiders fan base, because of Vegas, has allowed this organizational's fans, who has one. I've had their most storied fan ever on this show, who paints the face, the notorious Raider with spikes and the pads and everything. He lives right up the street from me, by the way. One of the most notorious fans of any fan base. He'll tell you he drives every day to the game, every week to the games if they're at home, and he said that Vegas fan base is insufferable. He told me, he goes, they're a joke. He goes, they're just there to party, drink. They don't know anything about the Raiders. This is just a bunch of tourists attending Raider games because they're in town. They don't have a fan base anymore, Bailey. Their fan base is in Oakland and LA still, their original fans, and they're not going to Vegas every week. Yeah. So I would not say they're okay. I would say they're insufferable. Or they're non-existent. The Raiders fans are non-existent because they're not really Raider fans in Vegas. They're tourists watching a game. And it's usually, if you look in the Raider Stadium, it's the opponent's jersey being worn more than their own jersey, especially if Pittsburgh and Cowboys play here.
Yeah, people go to Raiders games to, like, you know, not everybody, but definitely people go to Raiders games to watch the opposing team just because it's in Vegas. I would say that. What about Atlanta, Coach?
Anyone know? I don't know shit about them. They're shitbirds. They're not the dirty birds. They're the shitbirds. They're not the dirty birds. They're the shitbirds. I would take them out of there. I'd put them as non-existent.
I have a theory for great fans. I would say the Commanders or the Redskins fans who actually are true Redskins fans, the amount of people who've, like, you know, still calling out the Redskins, I actually think that they're better fans. I wouldn't say they're non-existent. I just say that I think there's a lot of fans that want the Redskins back. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't like non-existent. I think the Redskin fans are existent. I think they're actually okay. For now, they're at least okay. To be in that shithole town of D.C. and be fucking just absolute fucking shithole town, by the way. Where's my man D.C., whatever his name is, in the chat? Where are you at? You're a fucking shithole of shitholes towns. For you to have a fan base there, and that's why Baltimore is right on the fucking cusp of being another shitbird town. I would say they're okay. I would put the Commanders fans way up there. Non-existent, no. I'd move a lot of this shit around. I would say the Giants fans are non-existent right now.
Yeah, that is a good point. What about now we move down to insufferable, your Chiefs Queendom fans? How do you feel about the Chiefs Queendom fans today?
They're the worst. They're the fucking absolute worst. Bottom of the bottom. Cream of the crop. Fucking creme de la creme. They're the worst fans in the history of professional sports. They wanted Andy Reid fired when his son hit a kid before the Super Bowl that they got blown out in. And they all wanted Andy Reid fired. If you go back and look at all the chats and everybody out there, then all of a sudden he's the GOAT and nobody remembers anything about his son hitting the kid, crippling the motherfucker, shitbird kid, and all the issues that Andy Reid had. Nobody remembers that. Everyone forgot it. They won, and Andy Reid's the GOAT now. Go back and look, motherfuckers. Go back and look, you pussy fucking queen fucks. Go back and look at your fucking shitbird fan base. By the way, I have a lot of friends in Kansas City. They'll vouch for me exactly on what I'm saying. You're another fair weather group, and you've just become so beneficiaries of quality winning that you think that everyone forgot that you guys were a bunch of fucking nobodies sitting in the snow in the worst stadium in football with the worst locker room in football. You've never upgraded shit. You're like Notre Dame of the NFL. You got wooden fucking lockers, by the way, a shithole locker room. Your locker room's this fucking big. You've never done any upgrades to it since I was there. And I'm just telling you, you are the worst fucking fan base ever in professional sports history. Fact. Wow. Philadelphia Eagles, you're the second worst.
Well,
Philadelphia Eagles, you're right fucking behind them, Philadelphia Eagles. You are right fucking behind them.
Well, Everybody's an Eagles fan right now since they won the Super Bowl. I can't tell you how many people. I'm like, damn, I didn't know you was an Eagles fan. After down goes Chiefs Queen them.
By the way, we practice at St. Joseph's in St. Joe, Missouri, at Missouri Western, where they still play or still practice, I believe, a Division II indoor facility. They still practice there, I believe, but this is the shitbird fucking fan base. So, it is what it is.
People are mad we skipped over the Jets. How do you feel about the Jets fans?
Who cares? They're shitbirds. Nobody cares. I don't know why they're okay. They're fucking garbage. They're another fair weather fan base. Any big media market is fair weather. Vegas, LA, New York, all fair weather. That's just what it is. I put the Jets in fair weather. They're the fourth fair weather team, along with the Rams, Niners, and Tennessee.
How about Dallas? The Cowboys.
Dallas is just a joke. Like, they're a joke. Here's the thing about the Dallas Cowboys I got to give credit to, which I would keep them. I don't know if they're insufferable. I think the Cowboy fans are probably great. And this is why I'm going to say great. They're fucking going to say the Cowboys are the Super Bowl champs next year, every year.
Facts. It's true.
And that's a hell of a fan base. They've been doing it their entire careers, though, versus the Chiefs Queendom, who have only been around recently since they've had success. But when they lost to the Bucs and got mud stomped, and then it's crazy now between the mud stomping the Eagles just gave them and the Bucs just gave them. By the way, your GOAT quarterback, KCBD, has 2 of the worst Super Bowl losses ever, but he's the GOAT. Anyway, listen to this. If you shit on Andy Reid after the loss to the Bucs, after his son and hit the guy before the game and all that, and then this year you're giving him a pass, and guess what the narrative is now, Bailey? We'll be back. We're there. We only lost 1 game. Blah blah blah. When you lost to the Bucs, though, it was a whole nother narrative. Oh, fire Andy Reid. When you guys get mud stopped next year, just mark my words, Bailey, they're going to put Andy Reid in retirement because Andy Reid's like, you fucking fair weather fan, you fucks. Andy Reid knows the truth about you guys. Andy Reid's a Cali boy. He knows the truth about you weirdo fucking Kansas City bitches. He knows the truth. So he'll fucking be out of there after your fair weather fans shit on him after next year when you guys get fucking mud stomped. Again, young native Tino 64 with no pitcher, you fucking shitbird.
That division's gonna be tough next year.
I'd move Cowboys up. I would also move the fucking Patriots up. They're at least okay fans.
Yeah, that's true.
But again, they benefited from winning. They benefited from winning so many years. The Giants are the one I don't know much about. I don't hear from the Giants. I don't hear shit about the Giants.
Giants fans are very quiet right now, I would say.
I mean, have they ever been like – I've never heard of a Giants fan base being one way or the other. So I'm not going to comment on the Giants fan base. I don't know shit about them. But the non-existent fans –
Arizona Cardinals. Yeah.
I agree with all of them except Washington. I would move Washington to okay, and I would put I'd put the Falcons or the Raiders in non-existent because they're a bunch of fair weather fans as well. The other ones, like, nobody knows. The Chargers couldn't even sell out Home Depot Center here in Carson, California, which is a soccer arena that only holds 30,000.
Right.
So the Chargers are a joke. The Charger fan base is a joke. Remember, they're a San Diego team. They should have never robbed that city of a professional football team. It's a joke. San Diego's a great football town. They should have a fucking pro team. I hate San Diego. It's nothing like LA. San Diego is like the version of Kansas City when it comes to LA. Like, to me, San Diego's a bunch of fucking wannabe LA fucking people. No offense, Josh Fele Uso. But you guys are. You got horrible Mexican food. Y'all think it's the best. No, it's shitty. You got fake fucking seafood. Y'all think it's the best. No, it's shitty. And then when you go to LA and get real Mexican food, you go back to San Diego and you're like, fuck, This shit is fake. It tastes like fucking Taco Bell, and everyone thinks San Diego has the best food. Well, show me, because I ain't never seen it. I've been in San Diego my whole life. I ain't never seen it. LA food shits on San Diego food, and I'm standing on business.
Damn, so San Diego, fair weather.
So, in fairness, San Diego got robbed of a franchise, and the Chargers need to be in San Diego. San Diego's a great city, has fucking the best weather. It needs to have a NFL team, period. And they robbed them of that, and now they say they're non-existent. San Diego's fans, when they were the Chargers, you can ask Josh and them, I'm sure, they would probably argue this. They did not have a non-existent fan base. The Charger fans in San Diego were a real fan base. Now they're non-existent because, fuck, you move them around. You play in the same stadium as a Super Bowl champ Rams. Mm-hmm. At least recent Super Bowl champ Rams, who's won 2, by the way.
Right.
I don't know.
You see a common theme here where you're moving these teams to bigger markets and kills the fan base. That is what it is.
Yeah.
What about D. Jones and Jaguars fans? Well, there you have it, folks. D. Jones, where you at?
At least the Chiefs have a fan base. Fucking Jacksonville, are you shit me? Anyway, we spent way too much time on that, but we had to show that fucking fan base thing for you guys out there. So it is what it is. And then LA's a shit town. California is a liberal. I don't give a fuck. I'm just telling you, you know damn well, without all the bullshit politics, there is no town like LA in America. Shut the fuck up. You already know it. You just don't want to admit it because you can't afford to live here, so you hate on it. That's really the truth. You can't afford to have a yacht on the Pacific Ocean, so you hate on it. Period. Just say that, motherfuckers. You can't afford it here. You can't afford it here. These Instagram hoes eat you alive. You never had the food like this because you're used to fucking Whataburger, you fucking backwood redneck fucking broke bitch. And then you can't handle the truth, so you can't live in LA. You need to go live in fucking wherever King David Cartel's from. Fucking Amarillo, Texas. Fucking shitbird. Shit town. All you motherfuckers talking shit are from shitbird holes that have one fucking Whataburger in it.
Whataburger.
You guys, you have nothing. You're a bunch of shit towns talking about trying to be in LA. By the way, Scottsdale, who I love Scottsdale, it can never be better than LA without an ocean, you fucking moron. It can never be better than LA without an ocean. Are they going to move an ocean over to Scottsdale? Because until they do that, I would love to live in Scottsdale, but it ain't better than LA, you dumb fuck. And by the way, 6 months out of the year, everyone in Scottsdale comes to LA because it's 157 degrees, you fucking idiot. Yeah. But would I move to Scottsdale? Sure. I love Scottsdale. I might move to Scottsdale. But guess what? It's not an ocean there, and there's a lot of fucking desert. And there's a lot of ice going on right now.
That is true. Well, Coach, let's get into some free agent quarterback landing spots and breakdowns. We got a lot of quarterbacks to break down here. Coach, let's start with Sam Darnold. Do you think the Vikings should hold on to him, let him go, or do you have a good landing spots for Sam Darnold? What are your thoughts? Go ahead.
I think they need to keep him, and I think they will. I'm going to roll with that. I'm going to predict each one as I talk about where they should be. I think they keep them. They franchise them as early as today. They'll probably tag them. And I think he stays put.
What are your thoughts on this? Amarillo is better than LA.
Amarillo.
Looks like a cheese hat.
It's one of the biggest shit holes in America. So it's on the I-40, Bailey. So you go from if you go from Kansas to California, you have to go through this shithole. And they're known to have like a 60-ounce steak at this big steakhouse. You go in there, if you can eat the steak, they give you fucking $100 or something. Some redneck fucking shithole design to come out and get attractions, get people to show up. Eat the 60-ounce steak, you get $100. Shut the fuck up, you fucking shithole town. They got a fucking wiener schnitzel that Stogie and I would stop at on the way to and from Kansas, and that's the first wiener schnitzel before you get back into the normal civilization. And so I stop there and get it and then keep going. But it's a stop through town. You go through the town. You don't get off any streets or nothing in Amarillo. It's a shithole. Yeah, it's a shitbird. It's absolute shithole. I think it's like similar to fucking Independence, Kansas. But anyway, I think he stays. I think he should stay. I think he does stay. I think he should stay. I think he does stay. That's where I think it's at. I think that they should tag him. They should keep him, and that's what I think about it.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think they should keep Sam Darnold. I mean, 14 wins, first year with the team. I mean, you have to keep him and really look at a future with them. I get it. They got J.J. McCarthy. They had Daniel Jones. But, I mean, I think this is your guy 100%. I agree with you.
So you think he stays? You think he stays?
Yeah, I think he stays. I'd be shocked if he ends up with another team after having the kind of season he did. I get it ended shitty. But
if he does go, let's give a probable. If he does go anywhere, what is your thoughts? Where does he go?
Ooh, maybe the Raiders. I think that if the Raiders figure out a run game, I think Pete Carroll will heavily invest defensively with the top pick. I don't think they'll go quarterback, contrary to a lot of people's belief. I think that if Pete Carroll does go with the rookie quarterback, it's not going to be in the first round or the second. It's going to be a later pick. But if they bring in a guy like Sam Darnold to pair along with the run game, you can do play action, bring in a receiver like Lockett potentially. They got Brock Bowers, obviously, the tight end. I don't know what they're doing, Michael Mayer, but I think the Raiders will be the best fit for Sam Darnold. What about you?
Yeah, I would say the Raiders are probably, I would say 1A, 1B. Wouldn't be shocked if the Giants tried to get him. Or if Derek Carr is moved and Kellen Moore doesn't like him, don't be shocked if Kellen Moore tries to grab him in New Orleans.
That could be a good fit in New Orleans. They got a couple weapons down there too. So, but yeah, if you had to make a prediction, I mean, personally, I think they keep him. You agree?
Yeah, I think he stays in Minnesota. I hope he does. I hope, as a fan of football and the continuity of a head coach, play caller, and quarterback all being on the same page, which is not very. They don't have a lot of them, by the way. There's not a lot of those players. They don't have head coach, OC, and quarterbacks on the same page very often in this league. Sean Payton, Bo Nix right now, possibly. Harbaugh, Herbert, possibly. Andy Reid, Mahomes, possibly. And now maybe you can call, say Jalen Hurts, but he's not the play caller. Sirianni's not, but Sirianni's an offensive guy. So We'll see. But Sam Darnold is the last one in Minnesota. You can argue Jordan Love and their head coach, obviously, in Green Bay. And who else? McVay and Stafford. I mean, really, other than that, there's not a lot. You got a handful of head coach, OCs, quarterback combinations that are good. Look at the league, Bailey. Look at the league, Bailey. Everyone else is shocked. Look at it. Look at the league. Every other year, you got a head coach getting fired that was the OC. Look at Kingsbury in Arizona. How'd that work out with Kyler Murray? Fired. Now he's the OC. They're having great success, and he's not the head coach. How many head coach, play caller, OC head coaches, along with a quarterback, actually sustain and work out? Not many. Not many. So I hope he stays.
Yeah, we'll see. Ben, I mean, your scenario highlights Ben Johnson, Chicago. We'll see how he works with Caleb Williams.
Some of you guys in the chat are just not very smart. I really, seriously, man, you guys are embarrassing. Like, shut the fuck up. Is Monken the head coach? Like, are you fucking just that tarded? Monken's not the head coach, you fucking idiot. I said head coach, OC, quarterback, not fucking the OC. Monken's not the head coach. I said head coach, play caller, quarterback. There's a handful of them. You fucking morons. Listen, you got 2 ears, you fucks. Take the fucking dick out of your ears. Holy fuck, man. All right,
let's go to the next quarterback. We got Russell Wilson coming out of Pittsburgh. Coach, where is the best fit for Russ? Obviously, you got Pete Carroll in Vegas. That seems to be the obvious one, but I think potentially Indianapolis maybe take a flyer on him. I don't know. What are your thoughts on Russ?
Here's the thing. I think the best fit for him is Pittsburgh. Here's the issue. He's 36 years old. He does not have a really long history of injuries. So
it's true.
We haven't got to Aaron Rodgers yet, but I'm sure we'll compare Aaron Rodgers possibly being a Pittsburgh Steeler for 1 year. Here's the issue. He's coming off second year off of Achilles, Aaron Rodgers is. He clearly can't move like he used to. This guy's 5 years younger than Aaron Rodgers and doesn't have any of the medical history that Aaron Rodgers has. And if I am a paying man, I would keep Russell Wilson over Aaron Rodgers as it sits today. Now, having said that, though, we're going to get to Aaron Rodgers, and I'm going to change my tone a little bit because I still like Tomlin, Aaron Rodgers connecting for 1 year. I'll break that down later, but if I were a franchise, I told you I'm going to give you both perspectives, player and franchise. If I'm a franchise, not a coach, not Tomlin, just the franchise, the owner and the GM, I would keep Russell because he's 5 years younger and he's healthier, to be honest. If I'm a coach, though, and I got to see what just happened this offseason, if I'm Mike Tomlin, I'm sitting here thinking, how do I replace Ben Roethlisberger and get over the hump and win a Super Bowl again before I retire? That may be Aaron Rodgers. If I'm the coach, if I'm the GM and the owner, though, I got to sit there and say, all right, 36 versus 41, Achilles versus no Achilles. That's just where I'm giving you guys – I'm giving you full perspective on this thing. I don't know how strong Tomlin's input's going to be. I don't believe Tomlin sold on Justin Fields or Russell Wilson. So I'm going to lean on two things. Either Russell stays right where he is or he's a Vegas Raider. There's no other option in my opinion. I think he's a Raider or he's a Steeler. I don't know if the Giants will take a shot at him. I don't know if the Jets will take a shot at him. Two New York teams need quarterbacks. And I don't know anyone else that would take a shot at him right now. I don't know if Indianapolis is going to take a shot at him.
Yes.
I mean, baby, Pittsburgh seems like 1A. The Raiders, I would say, are 1B with the combination of Pete Carroll possibly getting a free agent wide receiver like a Tyler Lockett that he's familiar with, play caller like he's familiar with, West Coast again. He played on the Pacific Northwest for a long time. It's the West Coast still. I can see that as 1B if 1A right here, Pittsburgh goes away. 1C and D, I would say it's New York, both New York teams.
Oh, man. I'm with you on Pittsburgh.
Sierra's wife plays a role at this age, man, because she is remember, I think she's probably from that area of the country. She's a entertainer. New York makes sense.
I personally think that Russ probably ran the Pittsburgh offense best last season, so I would like to see him stay. But I don't know if Mike Tomlin's that interested in bringing him back. At least right now, we could see. We'll see how that develops. I could see him going to the Raiders, like you mentioned, for the same reasons I said Sam Darnold. I think the one thing that you mentioned about the Giants and the Jets that I don't see it working out is offensive line-wise. Russ is not, doesn't have the same mobility he did in Seattle. So it would be alarming for me to see him go to the Giants to where they are struggling in the offensive line. I think that's somewhere a little bit more stable to where they have a solid run game and he can run play action, throw it deep, and do what he does best. I think I could see it in Vegas, and we saw it last year, I thought, pretty damn well in Pittsburgh. They got blown up by the Ravens in the playoffs, but, I mean, fuck that. I think the offense in Pittsburgh looked a lot better with Russ. So that's my 2 cents on it. But if I had to predict, I think he's probably, just from the noise, probably out of there. And I don't know what Pittsburgh does. Do you think they have any shot Pittsburgh goes with a rookie quarterback?
No, not at all. By the way, 1 million fucking quarterbacks have come through the NFL, from Dan Marino to current guys who never sniffed a Super Bowl or won one. And Kenny Pickett wins a Super Bowl this year, by the way. And that was a Mike Tomlin draft pick. So Mike Tomlin does have a Super Bowl winning quarterback since Roethlisberger. His name's Kenny Pickett on the Philadelphia Eagles. Hey Bailey, show that in the super chat or in the private chat. Shout out to our man Tyler Riddell. Who got something off the CoachJBStore.com. Go check it out. CoachJBStore.com. You can get all the merch I got right now. We got new merch cracking every single day. You got the Slap merch, too, for the Slap Nation new LA West Coast show. But Tyler Riddell went over to CoachJBStore.com.
TJ Riddell.
Shout out to him.
Got his Queendom shirt. Love
got
it.
his Chiefs Queendom shirt. Look at that. Rock that shit proudly and walk it all through Amarillo, Texas.
That's right. Yeah. Shout out to TJ. Man, we appreciate you supporting. Go get your Chiefs Queendom shirt, CoachJBStore.com.
So some Coach, high quality shirts too. They're high quality shirts. Go ahead.
High quality, yes. Well, Coach, this is a quarterback that I think Shaun King is pretty high on. Free agent, Jameis Winston. We saw Jameis Winston working for Fox, doing all kinds of media and broadcasts and interviews and other crap. What are your thoughts on Jameis Winston? Is there a team that you feel that Jameis Winston could go in and have a 1-year kind of stint, or what are your thoughts?
Baby, I don't know if you can share the screen, but it's ironic that you asked this. I got a little film on Jameis Winston. I shared it, so if you can share it, let's take a look at it. And we'll take a look against one of the best teams in football who you guys thought was the best. I thought was one of the worst defenses. Jameis Winston actually played the Ravens. And here's a few things that I think people don't want to look at, Bailey. And this is why you get a guy like Jameis Winston if you're a team that needs a 1-year fix. I want you to pay attention to the coachable traits that he possesses. And this is what I mean. This kid wants to play football at a very high rate, at a very high speed. And running the football as a quarterback is all acting. If this guy wants to get the ball back here with extreme enthusiasm, just like he does and everything else he does, from eating chicken wings to fucking crab legs to acting a fool, watch him hand the ball and boot out full fucking speed. Yes. Does it mean anything? Does it mean he can play quarterback and start and throw 30 touchdowns in the NFL and not throw 30 interceptions as he once did? No, it means nothing. What it means is the kid is invested to the team that he's on. He wants to be out there. That's fucking half the battle, Bailey. That is more than half the battle. The guy wants to play, and I want you to see how he hands the ball off and boots out. Simple play. But look at him. He wants to play. He's fucking full speed. He's doing what the coach said. Watch him boot out after this handoff. Watch him actually sell it and go full school. Look at that. Hand up on him. Hand on the ball. Look at Kyle Hamilton's having to honor him just a second longer. So guess what it does? It allows the back to crease this. Look at him. Look at where his feet are and his weight is. Patrick Queen, or not Patrick Queen, what's his name? He's already looking this way. Yeah, he's going this way. Why? Because he doesn't know who has the ball, because Jameis Winston's selling it.
And all the details.
That's key, man. That's a lot. A lot of you casuals won't understand it. That's huge for a coach to say, oh, you know what? We got a guy who wants to be here. He wants to go fast, play hard, have enthusiasm at the position. A lot of quarterbacks you'll watch hand the ball and just stand there.
That's true. That's very true, JB.
We talk about it all the time, Bailey, on this show. Like, you got to be able to act. Now look what happens, Bailey. They do the same kind of action, fake. Now look at the defense. They don't know if he's handing it or faking it because he faked it the last play and ran it good. So now guess what the defense does? And then he can throw that ball, and he has a big arm. He has a big arm, Bailey. He can make all the NFL throws. I just am not sold on him as a starter in this league, even though that's a great ball. Like I said, the guy can throw. He can throw with anybody. Look at that ball. I mean, this is a big-time NFL throw. Big time. As Bailey, I just think the antics, we can move on. We can take them off. The antics, Bailey, supersede the performance.
Yeah.
And I think the antics, he needs to let all that shit go. Do you want to be known as a crab-eating, crab-licking clown who fucks around and everybody loves him because he's a soundbite waiting to happen? Or do you want to be known as an NFL starting quarterback? That's where I would have a conversation with him if I'm his manager, agent, coach. I'm sitting here saying, Jameson, cut all the bullshit out. I don't want to hear your fucking pregame speeches. I don't want to hear your fucking kid stories. I don't want to hear any of that. I want to see you fucking win 10 games for a team and get them to a playoff. And not turn the ball over and then smile about it in an interview. I need you to be serious, Jameis Winston. You have a big arm, big upside. You can throw it with anybody. Stop the bullshit out and become a professional quarterback. That's all I would tell him. For that reason, I don't care where he goes, and I don't think he actually helps anybody. Contrary to Shaun King, Smitty, everybody that thinks he's some huge get, I don't think he is. And I wouldn't trade for him. I wouldn't.
Yeah. Man, the one thing about Jameis, and I'm not a quarterback evaluator at all, but when's the last time a team actually gave him a full opportunity to start? What was it, New Orleans, and he ended up getting hurt or something? I mean, that's the one thing we'll say with him. He's kind of bounced around a lot, so I'm curious if a team that needs a quarterback brings him in and actually goes all in with them, how he performs. Because, I mean, I get Cleveland wasn't great last year, but Cleveland did beat Baltimore with Jameis. That
was the game. That was the game. Yeah. He was throwing darts.
Yeah, exactly. So,
he was throwing darts.
Definitely going to be interesting. But let's move forward here. I got to ask you, got to talk about Aaron Rodgers now. I know you had a interesting take on where you think he ends up. Jets are obviously letting him go, so several landing spots. Could come back home to the West Coast where he's from. But what are your thoughts, Coach? Go ahead.
Listen, as we wait today, we'll see today what happens. I don't know. I'm sure there's going to be breaking news any minute now. I think some people are going to get tagged here this morning, like Sam Darnold. We'll see what Kirk Cousins does. Are people going to move them? As it gets later and later, I think the West Coast starts to deteriorate more and more, the options. The Niners option, which I would love to see him in Frisco, I think is deteriorating. The Raiders option is even deteriorating little by little as we sit here and see that, all right, Pete Carroll looks over his options. At 73 years old, do I want a 41-year-old, 2 years off of an Achilles, who has been known to kind of say what is on his mind, blurt out information, hence the fact that the Jets wanted him off McAfee? I think it's the Giants, man. I think the Giants and the Colts. I think the Giants and the Colts are the front runners for this man's services. Now, where do I want him? I want him in Pittsburgh with Mike Tomlin. I want him to have a real big-time talent like a young Devontae Adams in Green Bay, and that's George Pickens, who he has there. I think George Pickens is on the cusp of being a shitbird, uncontrollable AB. And what's going to stop that from happening is an Aaron Rodgers and a Mike Tomlin combination to help this young man, George Pickens, out and become and reach his ultimate height, which is one of the best NFL talents in the football. I know what my eyes see. George Pickens can be one of the best wideouts in football. But his shitbird attitude, nonchalant effort is going to cost this guy, and he's going to be a what-it-could-have-been motherfucker. And so this guy can save him. By the way, there's a video out there, George Pickens saying who his favorite quarterback and player is and who he would want on his team more than anybody, and I believe he says Aaron Rodgers. So that is already part of the problem, solution to the problem. If you like a guy and you want him and he's your idol, guess what happens? He controls the uncontrollables, and you need an older quarterback to come in there and tell Pickens, hey, dog, you said I'm your hero, motherfucker. Shut the fuck up and run the route the way I said to run the route. And I can see this being a real thing. If I'm a coach and a quarterback, Aaron Rodgers with Mike Tomlin. If I'm a Pittsburgh Steelers organization, I want Russell Wilson. I told you guys that reason earlier. I'm giving you both takes of it. So that's all I'm saying. I just wanted to give you both perspectives. 36-year-old Russell Wilson, no injuries. As an owner group, I'm taking that. As a coach, I want to get over the hump. I want to get another Super Bowl. I want Aaron Rodgers. I'm just giving you both sides.
Well, I got to ask you, because first let me respond to your Pittsburgh take. Didn't we see Aaron kind of deal with Garrett Wilson in New York and kind of have to deal with that? Him and Pickens, that just in my head, it's like could be a recipe for disaster. But let me ask you about two teams. I think one, you mentioned the Colts definitely could be an option just because the McAfee factor, that could be a huge thing. I could see Irsay probably doing that just because of a publicity stunt and getting McAfee back on his side and whatever. But what about Tennessee, Coach? And the reason why I say that is this. They hold the number one overall pick, but they've also said they want to draft a generational talent, which screams drafting Travis Hunter. And they've kind of gone back and forth. We'll see if they end up drafting a quarterback. But what about Tennessee? They have a solid run game. Bill Callahan, arguably the greatest offensive line coach in the history of football, is there. Young left tackle that I think is pretty damn good that people aren't talking about, J.C. Latham. Defense isn't half bad. Jeffrey Simmons and Devondre Sweat on the D-line. What about Tennessee?
No, but the only reason he wanted to go there with Vrabel. FYI, McAfee told me that. He wanted to go there with Vrabel. He bought a house and built a house in Nashville a few years ago. That ship has sailed, though. So I think it's too late. It's a day late, $1 short.
Yeah, well.
I say no. And Travis Hunter means diddly shit to a 41-year-old ball spinner like him. He ain't going to even catch his balls, number one. Number two, he don't care about going to play corner. He needs guys to help him on offense. So I don't think that he cares about that. I don't think he gives a shit. I think he wants O-line. He wants fucking wideouts. He wants that shit. He could care less about who they draft, in my opinion.
Man, well, we'll see. We'll see what Tennessee ends up doing because I think Travis Hunter could slip to pick 4 in New England, and I think Vrabel and them could take a shot at Travis as well. But if you had to pick a landing spot, your landing spot is Pittsburgh or somewhere on the West Coast?
Selfishly, I like to see him in Pittsburgh. Overall, if I could pick, Niners all day, because I know when you go back home, your investment is much greater than it is on another team that you have no investment in that city. He's from the Bay Area. He's from Northern California. Frisco would be number one if I could do it. I could pick it. Since I can't pick it, then I like to see him in Pittsburgh. But if I'm a betting man, I could see him staying right there in New York and being a Giant, man. It's ironically as it sounds, because of the fact that I don't think the Giants are going to be this dumb again and give up assets and draft capital to get Matthew Stafford or somebody like that. They would be dumb as fuck. Just get Aaron Rodgers for 1 year, build a roster around him, get Aaron Rodgers for 1 year, continue to build your roster internally for the future, and just get a plug and play QB. Whether that's him, don't be surprised if it's Sam Darnold. Don't be surprised if it's Russell Wilson. Those are all outliers in New York with the Giants. So I can see that happening. But if I'm selfish and I want to see it, I want to see him go to the Steelers. Obviously, the Niners, I think, will re-sign Purdy, unfortunately, and that'll end their run. But I like the Giants being an option because I think he'll stay in New York and he's there and he's comfortable and all the shit's there. So.
Well, I think he'll end up going to Indianapolis. I think the noise, if I had to predict it, that's where I think. I was kind of surprised. I thought Aaron Glenn might retain him, but I think the Jets could go after a rookie quarterback. And Jets hold pick 7, but they could move up. I don't see people talking about the Jets going after a quarterback. Well, Coach, let's move on to the next quarterback before we got Shaun King joining the show. I got to ask you, Falcons and Kirk Cousins. What's next for Kirk Cousins in Atlanta? They seem to have indicated they will cut him after signing him to a huge deal after last season and also drafting Michael Penix as well. But Coach, what are your thoughts on Kirk Cousins? Go ahead.
Is this photoshopped?
No.
So he throws the ball without the laces?
I guess on that throw, yeah. I didn't even notice that, but
so I know 2 quarterbacks that didn't throw the ball with the laces. Kurt Warner, Jeff George. Jeff George and Kurt Warner had the ball. Their index finger used to be on the point of the ball, which is unbelievable. I got to throw warm up with Kurt Warner one day in a preseason game years ago, and we were just bullshitting warming up, throwing the ball to each other. And he had the ball on top, and I went over there, what the fuck are you doing? He literally threw the ball. That's why he didn't throw a great spiral, Kurt Warner, if you look. Jeff George threw the ball with hands. He used all the laces, all the fingers on the laces. I have no idea. He had a cannon. I do not. You emailed him, right?
Yeah.
Says he don't have it. But this right here is blasphemy. There's no way. I think this is fake. Or something. I think they fucked up. They fucked up the Photoshop.
I don't know if that's Photoshop, though.
He's in too much of a throwing motion to have the ball that loosely with no threads. I just know quarterback play. I would love to ask that motherfucker. I was like, is this fake picture? I would think this is a fake picture, unless he's throwing a ball hot. But if he was throwing a ball hot, he wouldn't be in that motion. He would be like this. So there's a lot of finite difference in this thing. I don't think that's real because there's no way. He's actually got the ball like he's got the laces. And I think it's fake. But I'm just a real cat talking about real shit. Nobody else would ever mention that. Shit. Yeah, Mina Kimes would never even fucking mention that, by the way. But, and by the way, can we talk about the football in his hand? So how the fuck is that ball being thrown? The ball's being thrown from this angle. The ball's pointed this way, Bailey. So how the fuck is he going to turn the ball with no laces and throw it this way?
Man.
Anyway, I can talk about this for fucking 2 hours. I can talk about this part right here for 2 hours. Nobody wants to talk about. Motherfucker has no threads, ball's thrown like that. And he's in full motion. Bailey, he's in full weighted motion, ready to throw the ball like this. There's no way that ball's sitting there like this with no threads.
Man, well, Coach, I think somebody here can give a good perspective on that as a Super Bowl champion quarterback, Shaun King. Let's go ahead and bring him in the right way. Super Bowl champion quarterback, Shaun King. Shaun, what up, man? How you doing? Happy Tuesday.
We didn't need no intro for this motherfucker. He just got here on a humbug. He had to take kids to school. I said, hey, you want to come talk some football? I'm off this week. I'm chilling, Shaun. I'm supposed to be in Arizona. I said, fuck it, Bailey. Let's do a show. I had to hit up Mr. King and say, you want to do something today? Let's talk some QB. It's free agent market open today, Shaun. Not free agency, but tag agency, I guess you want to call it. It's open for 2 weeks. And go ahead, Shaun, break it down. Tell everyone I'm wrong on everything so far, and go ahead because you've been chomping at the bit.
So, I always like to have context on things that I say. I'm speaking as if I was the general manager of an NFL team that needed a quarterback. First thing I got to do is I got to be honest about where my roster is. What are we capable of accomplishing if everything goes perfectly? Yeah. And if I feel like we're close, I'm looking for the most talented free agent quarterback because I've got a lot of other pieces. So I don't really need some of the intangible things that maybe a young team may need. Like I can see a young team getting a vet to kind of show the younger quarterback, how to be a pro, kind of. When I'm a team that's close, a la a Pittsburgh, or let's use them for example, I'm going to get the most talented guy because we're trying to get over the hump. And in my opinion, I heard what JB said, and, listen, I didn't love what he did at the Super Bowl. And I've expressed that to his people. But Jameis Winston is by far the most talented quarterback that's going to be available in free agency.
And that's why I broke film down on him a minute ago. If you watched it, that's why I broke some film. And that's why I picked him particularly because of the upside. But the downside is times 10 over all the other guys. So I got to weigh that out too. I agree with you. But
to your point, I thought you said something that I do agree with. And this is kind of why I love the exposure he got during the Super Bowl, but I didn't like the way they chose to utilize him. Like, he did not look like a starting quarterback. He looked like a guy that was about to transition into
media.
He looked like RG3.
Yeah.
Remember when RG3 was at ESPN? They always had him doing the out-of-pocket stuff. He's chasing the damn Seahawk. He's getting, raved through the crowd, on everybody's shoulders. Like, I always subliminally look at what they're telling you. Like, they're saying, okay, we don't view you as a CEO type.
And that's my point, Shaun. If I'm his management team or his agent or lawyer or whoever, I'm saying, dog, they think you're a joke. You are a mockery of the quarterback position. You either A, change your attitude and get the hell off social media and tell everybody to shut the hell up and stop talking to me. I'm about my business. Or you go be on McAfee show. Like one of the two things, because your quarterback days are numbered if you don't get serious. And you want to go down in your legacy at the end of the day. You want to cement this legacy into stone as either A, joke, or B, a guy that took a team to a playoff run, a 10-win, 11-win starting quarterback that Deshaun Watson couldn't do for the team you were on. You beat the Ravens, Jameson. You were on fire that game. You showed people that you're a top-notch free agent available quarterback. But you go out on the Super Bowl and you go back to the 30 interception Jameis Winston looking like a joke. And that's the inconsistencies of this guy, in my opinion. And they know it. And Shaun, once they know it, the blood is in the water, the shark circle. They're going to come at you and treat you that way.
And I guess in spite of that, here's why I'm so strongly in the corner of Jameis Winston. His issues are fixable. We can change his image in one offseason. We can help start to pivot the narrative from, as you said, clown to, as I would want to be viewed, CEO. You can't.
And what Shaun's saying is, you're saying that mechanically, arm strength, accuracy, he has it. I don't got to change nothing.
100%. He has it.
All
All
here.
we got to do is start highlighting him in some other situations, where it's not all rah-rah and, it's more composed, measured, decision-making. You can't change the fact that Kirk Cousins is old and he was immobile when he was healthy. Now he's coming off Achilles injury. You can't change that.
True.
Okay, so let's circle this fully. Give me the roster then that he helps. I don't see one.
Cousins?
No, Jameis Winston. I don't see any team that you were talking about. Let's go back so we can let everyone know, the audio listeners, since we're doing a show today just for shits and giggles, since free agency tagging open today. If Shaun came on and said basically there's one guy I would take over the rest based on how strong my roster is and how ready to win I am now. How am I close to winning right now? I don't see a team out there. Please correct me if I'm wrong and break down your teams that you think he can help. I don't see a team that he can help over. I would not take him over Aaron Rodgers if I'm Pittsburgh. I think Pittsburgh's ready. They're close. I'm taking a stopgap guy like Aaron Rodgers, even though he's old, Achilles 2 years ago removed, blah, 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 over this guy. Because Tomlin's a serious guy. They're a defensive city. They're a defensive playing city. Patrick Queen's in the middle there, one of the leading tacklers in the NFL this year. I think they want a guy to come in there and get him over the hump, get back to Ben Roethlisberger last year. Mike Tomlin can go away on the sunset as a winner. This guy don't do that for them.
See,
so give me your teams that have a roster. Go ahead.
I'd take Jameis over Pittsburgh. Over Rodgers in Pittsburgh for this reason. Jameis just turned 31 in January. So for one, he's 9-10 years younger than Aaron Rodgers.
But look at Tomlin though.
So hear me out. The one thing we've seen about Tomlin, for the most part, association breeds assimilation. You get in that Pittsburgh culture, and you the behaviors get corrected, or you're pretty much saying, I'm damn near out the league. And if we've talked about the talent Jameis has. If Tomlin can have the influence and impact on Jameis from a maturity standpoint, I think he can. Now you've got your starting quarterback for the next 4 or 5 years. Whereas if Rodgers comes in, you're pretty much just renting the car for 1 year.
Yeah, I don't agree, because I don't think Tomlin. I think Tomlin. I'm putting Tomlin in the Pete Carroll book, on the same boat as Pete Carroll. Pete Carroll's 73 years old. There's no way he's drafting Shedeur Sanders. There's no way he's going with a rookie. He's going with a Russell Wilson, established guy, a Aaron Rodgers, established guy, even a Sam Darnold who just had a 17, 18, 19 game schedule that he actually played games in and had a great successful year, over a rookie or a young guy or a guy that he doesn't know if he's Tomlin in the same boat. He's older now. What is Tomlin turning? 60? I don't think he wants to sit around and gamble on a guy who's more of a media personality over a guy that's serious on the football field.
Well, the only pushback I'll give you is the recency of the performance versus Denver and Baltimore. We're talking about a guy in the second half of this past season that showcased a leadability on the field on a Cleveland team that had mailed it in. Let's not forget.
But his last few games, Shaun, were horrific.
Yeah, but at the same time, he's playing on a Browns team that's traded Amari Cooper. The tight end was hurt for the majority of the time Jameis was starting. Come on, they had checked out.
Listen, I agree with you. Today is franchise tag day. I think Sam Darnold sets the tag market. If he gets tagged today in Minnesota, which I think he will, and he'll stay, which I think is the best decision.
And see, I'm not a Sam Darnold believer in this free agent cycle, because I'm not willing to pay the price tag that somebody else is for a guy that just completely fell apart. He melted down the last 3 games of the season. And I was pulling for Sam. I was glad about the reclamation story. I thought he did a lot of great things during the course of the year, but he completely melted down. But because of supply and demand, he's probably going to command a Baker Mayfield type deal. And I'm not willing to attach my future to Sam Darnold.
But they tag him today for a 1-year deal. I could see that happening until J.J. McCarthy's either ready. They think he's ready. They think he's going to learn 1 more year. Sam takes over 1 more year. They got the head coach OC combination. That continuity is there. You got a handful. We broke that down earlier. There's a handful of those head coach OCs, quarterbacks that are successful. Green Bay, LA Rams, KC. Think about it. There's not a lot of them. So
now Minnesota might, but you're telling me, and I know how you feel about Sam Darnold.
You think Jameis Winston would have won 14 games in Minnesota? I don't believe so at all.
I think Jameis Winston would have gave them a better chance come game against the Detroit Lions to win the division, playoff game against the Rams where Darnold fell apart. Like, that's the thing. Like, we've seen Jameis play his best in the biggest games. But I want to ask you a question because I know you're a Sam Darnold supporter. Because of the current contracts, the franchise tag at quarterback is damn near $50+ million.
Well,
you willing to that kind of money for Sam Darnold?
Well, I know this is the deal, and I wanted to be clear because today is the start of it, and I want to be the first show to talk about it. Today, you can do a franchise or a transition tag on a 1-year contract that's either the average of the top 5 salaries at the position or 120% of his previous salary, whichever costs more. So the deadline for this is 2 weeks from today, March 4th. So today it begins. There's a 2-week window, and then there's a week off, and March 12th is free agency, Shaun. My question to you, knowing that, if you're the franchise, we're just speaking of franchises, we're giving both perspectives here, and I'm glad you came on. If you're Minnesota, though, I tag him now before anyone else tries to dig their teeth in this thing and gets him for even less. I would say, you know what, fuck it. Let me just get him on a 1-year deal. Am I going to let him go to the Raiders? Am I going to let him go to New York? Am I going to let him go to – because he could possibly go back to the Jets or the Giants. And they're going to probably pay him a 2-year deal. They're not going to get – he's not going to get Trevor Lawrence money, even though I think he's better. I don't think he's going to get Trevor Lawrence money. He's not going to get Kyler Murray money. I think he's better. I don't think he's going to get any of these guys money. So I think Darnold gets done.
I wanted to clarify the difference in the two. So franchise tag. This means that the guy that's franchised gets the average of the top 5 highest paid players at his position.
At quarterback, yep.
If he was to leave, the team that franchises him gets accommodated with a draft pick. I think it's a first rounder for quarterback.
Or 120% of his salary last year, which wasn't great. Right. Just so you know, that's the difference between that and transition, right? Is that franchise versus transition?
No, but the transition tag, that's why I wanted to look it up right quick. The guy that a transition tag means he gets the average of the 10 highest paid guys in his position. The team has the right to match any offer, but they don't get any compensation if the player leaves. So transition tag basically means that his agent can still go out there, and if somebody wants to pay him a 3-4 year deal, he can get it. And if he goes, the Vikings don't get anything in return.
Yeah.
And the average salary is lower because it's the top 10 guys instead of the top 5, which is the franchise.
Well, Shaun, if you had to predict and give your take, the Vikings should keep Sam Darnold or get rid of him. What are your thoughts?
So here's why I don't keep Sam Darnold. I'm not extending a veteran quarterback who, if he does not play well the first 3-4 games of the season, I'm probably going to go to my second-year young quarterback.
Yeah.
Now, if it was a situation where this was Baker Mayfield coming off of outstanding finish to the season, and we were saying he's going to be our starter, and JJ's going to have to sit and learn, then maybe I'd do it. But I think this is more about the health of JJ McCarthy than it is the faith in Sam Darnold, at least from the outside looking in.
That's a good point. Man, Coach, any thoughts on Shaun's take there?
Nah, I think he signs today. I think he's a Viking for another year. That's the smart thing to do. I just don't think, and I don't know, Shaun's not fighting it, but I'm surprised Shaun's fighting it because he knows how important it is and how rare it is for the head coach, OC, and the quarterback to be on the same page. I just don't see that. They don't fall off trees. I think they'll be better next year. They could be better next year, Shaun, even.
But my opinion is not so much whether I like or dislike Sam Darnold. It's the fact that Sam Darnold has higher representation to get him the best possible outcome. And there's going to be somebody, whether it be the Giants, the Browns, the Titans, any of these teams that maybe aren't enamored with this quarterback class, that would rather give Sam Darnold a Baker Mayfield type deal. So I think the market is going to be greater for Sam Darnold than the stability of going back with Kevin O'Connell for 1 year in the same system.
Yeah.
It's sort of like the Brock Purdy thing. If you're Brock Purdy's agent, there's no way I'm letting my client take less than what Tua got in Miami, because I think Brock's better than Tua. I'm not taking a discount. I've been playing on a discount. The agent wouldn't be worth what you're paying him if he don't get the best for his client.
Yeah. Let me ask you this. In Cleveland, nobody's really talking about it. Deshaun's out next year.
Because of injury.
Yeah. They're another team that has to replace a quarterback next year. They're letting Jameis go, apparently. Where's that gap fill? Who's going to Cleveland for a year?
So here's what's interesting about Cleveland. Myles Garrett can't actually be traded without severe cap consequences until June 1st. So he's not really going to factor into this draft as far as like being able to add a first-round pick or something. So that would be future down the line compensation. I think it revolves around what they do in free agency. If I was, I forget the GM's name of the Browns, my free agent goal would be to do enough so that Myles Garrett has a change of heart. Like, I would try and be so active in free agency that Myles Garrett changes his mind and says, you know what, I like what we did. I think we can make a run at it. I'm going to stay.
All right. So who is a splash quarterback that's going to make him stay that's out there?
I don't think that guy's out there unless he believes in Jameis and they're willing to bring Jameis back. I mean,
I don't think that's
and when I do the local Cleveland stuff, they keep saying Kirk Cousins. There's no way in hell Kirk Cousins can go somewhere in inclement weather and play in an under center system with his lack of mobility. He cannot move people anymore. He can't. He is immobile. He is in one spot. Period.
This picture right here with no threads it's got to be fake.
You know the only thing that makes sense is they can't.
It's a hot throw. It's a hot throw. But he's not in motion. He's not. Hot throw though is right here, Shaun. He's full ready to go positionally, like he's got the ball, and the ball's barely in his hand, facing the other way. I don't see it, but anyway, let me ask you this: the only splash higher, and I'm going to say higher, that you can get Myles to stay, in my opinion, is an Aaron Rodgers type of name, a Matthew Stafford type of name. They're not trading to. I don't even go there. I think he retires before he fucking goes that shithole. And who else? Sam Darnold?
I think you could do enough stuff around other positions that you might could convince Myles that we can get it done.
Hey, Shaun, can you turn your mic up or no?
Hold
on. Here. I don't know. But, Bailey, I want to transition before there's a few other guys. And here's my take to Shaun. Here's my point to Shaun. I believe that if a Marcus Mariota or one of these type of guys out there get jobs, then I agree with Shaun and Jameis Winston. If not, though, I believe this year is going to come down to a guy like Danny Dimes, who's a free agent we haven't discussed yet. Daniel Jones, Shaun, can he be a fill-in for a year for a team like Cleveland, who's heavy O-line, run game, defense, or a place even like an Indianapolis, a Jet? Can he just swap spots and go back to New York? Daniel Jones fits in somewhere because there's so much money out there for him that the NFL does not. You can address this, and this is the point I want to make. You can talk about this more than anybody else. How many guys do you know, Shaun, that got fucked that we all know, boys of ours, that were on the cusp of getting an NFL pension and they cut their ass and they never got the pension because they didn't meet the third-year requirement? Or NFL guys that have been paid so much money that they're going to get every dime out of their ass and put their ass on a team somewhere and make them earn their keep. He has to play somewhere because of the dollars been spent on him. Am I wrong?
I think he does end up somewhere. Hopefully my mic's better now.
Yeah.
Here's my deal. When the season starts, Daniel Jones is going to be 28. Jameis is 31. I know I keep going back to Jameis, but I'm trying to explain why. Jameis is more talented than Daniel Jones. He's done way more in the league. And I'm not just going back to Jameis. I'm just trying to create context. If I'm going to hope that I can have a reclamation project, I mean, let's just say this. We're at the auction. And there's a Toyota Corolla over there that needs some work. And there's a Mercedes-Benz over there that needs some work. If we're going to take a risk, JB, let's take a risk on the Benz, goddammit. So if we get it fixed, then we got us something. Like, I mean, Daniel Jones has done nothing since year one.
I disagree. He won a playoff game on the New York Giants that had 0 talent.
He threw 15 touchdown passes
I don't care.
16 regular season games.
Saquon was out a big portion of that year, though, too.
I don't care. If I'm a guy that's going to weigh the good and the bad, I'm taking a guy that took a shitty roster in New York to a win over the Minnesota Vikings in Minnesota and get my first playoff win over a guy that's more of a joke of the position with big talent. I'm going to take Daniel Jones on a bad team. I'm just saying, we're just talking about him getting signed somewhere. I'm not saying Daniel Jones is going to come in and win a Super Bowl. I'm just saying, at least I know he's serious. He wants to be there. This guy, I think, is 1 foot in, 1 foot out. I think Jameis Winston knows he's talented, but he also knows I have this image to portray, and that's being a clown. And I just don't know if he can change that, man. I think it's hard to change the stripes on a fucking zebra. I'm just telling you. Now, we could talk talent. I agree with you talent-wise. He's big arm. He's probably top 5 ball spinner and arm strength-wise in the league. But I don't know. But let me transition real quick before we get to a few other guys, because there's some names out there that we haven't discussed that I can see being moved. The Mormon MILF Hunter, for instance, who has a year starting under his belt, who someone could use his services if they're going to take a guy like Marcus Mariota and keep him around. I'm sure the Mormon MILF Hunter will get a job. Daniel Jones, we just mentioned. There's an old guy sitting around, Shaun, and the redheaded rifleman, Andy Dalton. Is he going to just be moved around as a backup, or does he finally retire? There's some other guys out there that we can discuss. But I want to transition all this and marry it all together with you. Let's talk fucking rookie quarterback class and the draft. And Cam Ward's recently come out and said, if you don't draft me, that's your fault. You've got to remember you're the same team that's got to play me for the rest of my career, and I'll remember that. Cam Ward's coming out already dropping bars on these teams, which, again, this is the generation. Earlier, Shaun, we saw Tee Higgins' mom talking shit to a team that's possibly going to pay him $100 million. She may have fucked that bag up herself. Parents, players, shut up. Please, this isn't you, Pop Warner. But having said that, Shaun, rookie-wise, is there any rookie in this class that can come into a team? Obviously, they're going to probably be a bad team unless somebody trades and does something crazy. Any rookie that's going to go help a team out early. And I want to just go through teams and you say yes or no. Pete Carroll and the Raiders. Any rookie? Yes or no?
Not with the roster as it currently stands, no.
I agree. No. Indianapolis Colts. Yes or no? They've already done it with AR5.
Yes.
Okay, so that means AR5's gone, which I think he will be.
I don't agree with that, but I'm answering your question. Can a rookie have an impact?
Okay. So how many rookie quarterbacks have the Colts taken over the last few years that are still sitting there that haven't really performed? How many guys can you continue to take? I don't know. They're like Tennessee.
I think AR5 is without question the starting quarterback next year in Indy.
Oh,
really?
The Colts are fun. That's why McAfee sold his shit. I have them as a top 2 contender for the Aaron Rodgers sweepstakes. Now, McAfee's in town. He can do the show. He's fucking indoors.
Now, JB, I'm a guy that thinks they vastly overdrafted Anthony Richardson and had undue expectations on Anthony Richardson. But because of the injury component, there's no chance that he doesn't get a shot in year 3 to put together a season that makes where he was drafted make sense.
Yeah, I don't.
But to your point, before we get off of Cam Ward, here's why exposure can be a gift and a curse.
Mm-hmm.
Like you got Shedeur Sanders walking around here talking about legendary. Come on, man. Y'all didn't make a Pac-12 or Big 12 title game. Come on, you just got beat in the bowl game. You got Cam Ward walking around talking about people gonna regret not taking me. Does anybody in the Pac-12 regret not giving him a scholarship? Does anybody in the ACC, for that fact? Look, I saw the ACC title game last time. I thought it was Clemson versus SMU. Am I mistaken?
No.
So it's not like he walked out of ACC with a championship. Like, these guys get so carried away because their social media presence is substantial. Like, dog, chill out, man. I think Shedeur and Cam are talented, but in the grand scheme of team sports, y'all have done nothing.
I agree.
Y'all have no chips on the wall at all, man. Calm down.
It's the most fucking overrated draft class I've ever seen in my entire life. This is a generation, though, man. They have no humility whatsoever, and I get secondhand embarrassment. They're fucking horrible. They're horribly trained. They're horribly mechanics. Their fundamentals are shit. They don't make layups. They're the worst group generationally that I've ever seen at the position. And I'm just going to keep it real. I don't think there's a guy in this draft that'll play beyond year 3. And I believe the best one in the draft possibly is fucking Jackson Dart. And I don't think he's going to play very long.
This is going to be my next point. I think there are 3 guys who are going to be very impressive in shorts. And remember, you don't put pads on now till training camp. So this next interview workout process is just in shorts. And Jackson Dart's one of them. Cal McCord from Syracuse is another one. And the third guy, I'm telling you, name to watch is Tyler. I think it's pronounced Shook, but it's spelled Shough from Louisville. Keep those 3 names now. They do enough good stuff on film. They're going to go up some boards.
He feels very slighted, by the way, by Louis Riddick's comments. He came at Louis Riddick, who shares the same agent as I do. I love Louis Riddick. I think he's one of the best analytic guys on ESPN that actually breaks the game down in totality. He mentioned all these names, and then Shook goes, hey, I can throw 2. And I'm going to be fucking showing my ass during the combine, contrary to your belief. And it's funny you mentioned that name. I agree. I think he's a long, tight, compact, mechanically. He's ready. Been coached by a quarterback guy in Brom.
Mm-hmm.
I think all that matters, and it's a great point. A lot of people won't talk about him. I agree with you on him. I agree with you on McCord as well. After the year he had, breaks ACC records. I agree with that. I just don't know if these guys can really handle that. And I just don't see a generational talent in this group.
I don't either. It's
not really talent, Shaun. It's what you mentioned. It's the mental makeup of these dudes, man. It's just the generation has failed them.
Right. And Shaun, with that said, how does that factor into the top 10? There are a lot of teams that need quarterbacks. Cleveland, Tennessee, New York. I think the Jets need a quarterback. The Raiders, who I don't think will take a quarterback. How does that factor into the top 10? And how do you see this going as we continue to break it down in the offseason?
So I normally do a mock draft, And I've not done one this year because I don't think anybody has a clue what the top 10 is going to do before free agency.
Here, I want to give you perspective on what the draft entails, what the draft has before anyone gets going.
So I think the defensive end position is loaded.
And I was going to say, it's O-line, D-line heavy draft.
Yes, and running backs. This might be the best group of running backs in a long, long time.
Okay, so O-line, D-line draft heavy. And I'm just making this point to give you a lack of two. Mm-hmm. O-line, D-line heavy. Wideout lacks. Quarterback lacks.
Yeah, it's a weak DB wide receiver draft.
DB lacks. I don't know much about the linebacker position unless it's a hybrid guy like a Carter or somebody that can play both and be similar to not Myles Garrett, but the kid in Dallas who can play both.
Michael Parsons.
Parsons. I don't know if there's a real backer out there, that play. I'm talking about inside that plays A gap to A gap. I don't know how heavy that draft is, but 7-on-7 era to me has made this the way it is. And I don't know if I'm going to pass on a Joe Alt, which Chicago did last year for a quarterback this year. I don't know if I can as a Tennessee. I don't know if I can as a Cleveland. I don't know if I can as a Giant. I would have to grab the best O or D lineman possible and then use free agency for a gap stop quarterback that's a veteran in the Kirk Cousins and Aaron Rodgers, Jameis Winston, I got Russell Wilson, a Justin Fields even a Marcus Mariota or a Mormon Milf Hunter. All guys who have started in this league over taking a risk on one of these mentally weak, bad generational quarterbacks in the draft. That's just my gut instinct so far.
Yeah, and I don't necessarily disagree with you. I think free agents is going to tell. If Tennessee goes out and signs Daniel Jones to compete with Will Levis, then I don't think they're going quarterback at 1. If Cleveland trades for Kirk Cousins, then I don't think they're going quarterback at 2. The Giants most likely want Shedeur Sanders. Big stage, big brand. Like, I can see them making that mistake. Now, it gets down to the Raiders at 6. I think Cam could drop if Tennessee and Cleveland don't go quarterback. Because I think the Giants would choose Shedeur over Cam.
I agree with you on that. That's a good point. I don't think there's a shot. I think the two Michigan guys, defensively, the DB and then the D lineman Graham, I can see the Raiders going after him. There's no way. And personally, I think there's no way he drafts a rookie quarterback.
By the time the draft gets here, the defensive end from Georgia, McHale, he'll be a top 3 pick, even if somebody has to trade up. He'll be like Trayvon Walker because he's.
You think he'll be better than Abdul Carter?
Nah, Abdul probably will go before him, but again, I can see D lineman going. I can see 4 D linemen going in the top 8-9 picks easy.
And then let me ask you something. Running back position, it's heavy, but
loaded.
Are we at the point though in the NFL where we're going to take a short-lived position like running back? Are we going to take them this early? I don't see that still. I still think it's a risk when the Raiders, for instance, at 6 and Ashton Genty's on the board, which I believe he'll be. I still think it's a mistake to take Ashton Genty that early when I have a bad O-line, I have a bad wideout core, I have no offensive weapons, to be honest, other than the tight end. I don't know if I'm willing to take a back without the O-line or the weapons around them, and when I'm going to load the box without a quarterback in Vegas, unless I get a gap stop Russell Wilson, Aaron Rodgers to go with Pete Carroll, because Pete Carroll's not taking a young quarterback. I'm stuck on that. I'm going to stand on that. If he does, I'd be shocked. I think he's got to find the right fit, and I think Russell Wilson or Aaron Rodgers is probably that guy. Maybe a Jameis. I could see a Jameis if they go get another wideout outside like Tee Higgins or somebody in the draft, Tyler Lockett, somebody that's a free agent or that wants out. I could see if the Raiders go get him, what quarterback will they get with them? But that's why I think Russell Wilson, Tyler Lockett combination reunite with Pete Carroll, I think makes the most sense. I don't know if it'll happen, but then you don't draft Ashton Genty, though. At 6, you draft an O-lineman, right?
As Smitty would say, 2 things can be true. Is that Smitty's quote?
Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting because of the impact that Derrick Henry, of course, Saquon Barkley, Josh Jacobs, some of these free agent backs had on their new destination. If the position, regains some of its respect that it seemed to lose. But I'll say this, because of the depth at running back, I think Ashton Genty is going to fall. He's an elite talent, but because Caleb Johnson, Amari Hampton, some of these other guys, to me, are starters or rookie, 1,000-yard rush type talents, I think Genty's going to fall because teams will feel like I can double back in the second and third round and still get a legit starting NFL running back.
Let me ask you, speaking of the Raiders, just staying on the Raiders, there's a guy there that's the GOAT in a lot of people's minds who has 7 rings on his 10 fingers, and now he's involved in all this. I think over his recent comments that have very mirrored my comments that the quarterback position is as worse as it's ever been. The league is as soft as it's ever been. The rules are catered to the quarterback and still have the least production at the position that we've ever seen as far as efficiency and just straight up quarterback play that you and I understand, not the Twitter guru out there that thinks dink and dunk offense is 80% completion percentage is good. You and I look at it as a joke. So does Tom Brady, Shaun. There's no way in this world that he's making those comments and drafting a rookie quarterback. I don't care if he knows Deion Sanders and he's cool with Shedeur Sanders. He's come out and called out Shedeur Sanders too by saying, get the fuck out of the Bentley and go study some goddamn film. I don't see Tom Brady drafting a quarterback or pushing that narrative on Pete Carroll. I think he wants to get a guy that he knows can do it now in Aaron Rodgers, even a Jameis Winston, Russell Wilson, over that. I think that plays a role in this as well. So just speaking of the Raiders, I don't know. I think that he knows that roster is bad and needs a lot of fill-ins. And I'm leaning, what I told Bailey last week, I'm leaning at Pete Carroll being the defensive guy he is. They're going to try to do something, and I wouldn't be shocked if they traded 6 to Cleveland. Cleveland gets 2 and 6 for Myles Garrett.
Now, again, the problem is you can't trade Garrett till June 1st, which is after the draft. That's the only thing, because it makes sense. So here's where the Raiders are. 2 legit defensive linemen in Christian Wilkins and Max Crosby. They've got a couple defensive free agents they've got to re-sign. Most notably, the 2 safeties. The 2 starting safeties are both free agents. Mm-hmm. Offensively, you've got Brock Bowers and Jacoby Myers. Let's say you trade for Cooper Kupp, because I don't think Tee Higgins is going anywhere when they don't got good quarterback play.
Me either.
But maybe you can trade for Cooper Kupp for a 5th or 6th round pick, enhance the O-line in free agency, and then be in a position. Of course, I'm going to say Jameis. If you brought Jameis in, then you could draft a running back in maybe the 2nd or 3rd round to fill that void. And now, if you line up next year with Jameis, Jacoby Myers, Cooper Kupp, Brock Bowers, with that defense, like, you're competitive.
Yeah.
And then if you want to take a Tyler Shook or somebody in the 3rd round, if he's there, or maybe Aiden O'Connell. I think Aiden O'Connell's a really good backup. If something happened to Jameis and he has to play for a week or 2.
There's rumors out there that if he's going to play hardball, meaning Myles Garrett, and he's going to tell that team, I'm not playing unless you get rid of me. I'm going to hold out like all these guys do now. Then wouldn't it make sense that the Cleveland Browns draft his replacement right now and take Abdul Carter at number 2 and then have draft capital or have trade commodities with Myles Garrett and then can get something in return come June 1st and get a big splash guy or 2 for Myles Garrett come June 1st and already have a 2B replacement in Abdul Carter? That just makes sense to me.
So I always like to say, if I was a GM, I don't think you get these opportunities often to really rebuild your roster. And so if I'm Cleveland, every connection I have, I'm pushing that we like Shedeur Sanders and Cam Ward. We're ready to move on from Deshaun Watson. I'm pushing that we like those quarterbacks. I want to entice somebody to trade up to 2.
Right.
This is a chance where I can really stockpile draft capital and assets this year and next year. I know what I'm going to get from Myles Garrett. inside the building, I would be honest, we're in a rebuild. We're gonna try and trade out of 2, add a second-round pick this year as we swap ones. We're gonna trade Myles Garrett for an extra 1 next year. We're gonna be active in free agency, but for younger up-and-coming players. Because I think this is a deep edge rusher draft. So if they trade down to 11, they can get the kid from Marshall. They can get the kid from Arkansas, Landon Jackson. Like, there's still some really good edge rushers that are going to be available mid to late first round. Because I think that draft, it's like Brian Thomas going to Jacksonville after 5 receivers had been taken last year. This edge rusher class is very similar to last year's wide receiver class.
So you're saying almost tank.
Absolutely.
Because they still have a fucking problem and they don't have a quarterback.
Absolutely. But so let me be very clear about this. And I've screamed this from the mountaintops for years. And most of the NFL teams don't listen. If you don't have a quarterback and you draft Kenny Pickett with your first round pick, you still have a quarterback problem because you don't have a quarterback. And I use Kenny Pickett because that's what Pittsburgh did, 3 years ago.
Yep.
If you have a quarterback problem and you draft Zach Wilson in the top 5, you still have a quarterback problem. Am I starting to make sense? To enhance how JB feels about AR-15. If you have a quarterback problem and you overdraft Anthony Richardson, you still have a quarterback problem. Just because you have a need does not mean that year's draft class can adequately supply and fill that need. So
and that's why I've been
someone
saying, Shaun,
just because of the need is like a waste of an asset.
And that's why I've been saying, play with a guy like Cooper Rush, who's a free agent, by the way. Play with a guy that's proven that he can win, and then sit there and say, you know what? Let me build a roster around him and use that money. Because right now, I've been saying this for years. Whitlock now is saying what I've been saying. Build a roster around a quarterback that you don't have to pay. That's the reason what you just stated is why Justin Fields was let go for a Chico stick and string cheese. Desmond Ridder let go after they drafted him for a string cheese and Pickett, small hands Pickett, let go. Why? So they don't have to pay him yet. They still on a rookie expiring contract. They don't have to pay these guys yet, just like they do running backs every year. So that's the point, though. These quarterbacks are so bad. There's a reason why they're getting rid of them after they draft them in just a year or two. So I agree with you wholeheartedly. I just don't know if Cleveland's ready. They would have fired their coach, is my point. Wouldn't they have last year?
So, again, I think organizationally, if you feel like you have the right coach and right GM, then there are going to be some ups and downs from a success standpoint. Stick with them. Obviously, the Browns feel like Stefanski, and I don't know why. I can't remember the GM's name. Andrew Berry are the right guys for the position. So do something that every NFL team is afraid to do. Be honest with your fan base. Listen, we have a chance to kind of reset. And we're not talking about a 5-year reset. We're talking about a 2-year reset. Mm-hmm. So we're going to go out. We're going to add some draft capital. We're going to draft some young guys. We're going to let them gain experience. It may not reflect in our win-loss record in 2025, but we expect to be competing for a championship by 2026-27 and be in a healthy situation cap-wise, be far removed from this Deshaun Watson nightmare, and headed in a direction that you guys can be proud of. Now, we're going to ask for patience because that's what it's going to take. And be honest with the fan base, and you know what? They'll be like, okay, cool. We're going to watch these young guys play, and then, hey, hopefully the plan works. But to try and sell somebody on one of these quarterbacks that you're going to overdraft and then put all that unfair pressure on the kid. Like, that's the part that nobody looks at. It's not Kenny Pickett's fault that he was drafted in the first round. If he'd have been taken in the third round where he should have been taken, he might be the starting quarterback in Pittsburgh now. Because it would have been okay to sit him behind Mason Rudolph for 2 years and let him learn the system and develop. But when you overdraft these guys, now you got to play them. You feel all this pressure, and they're not worthy of those selections. It doesn't make any sense on either side.
Yeah, I agree. To your point real quick, a gift and a curse, social media with these players. Shedeur Sanders came out. Bailey, if you could put that in the chat, put it in. If Shedeur Sanders has come out again and bit his ass bit his own ass, so to speak, again, we got to stop talking so much until you get drafted and then perform and show us that you can perform and do something before you start talking. These kids are so damn entitled, man. It blows my mind. To your point earlier, mentioning that Cam Ward said what he said. Shedeur Sanders came out and talked about legendary. Be careful, because this league is it's a very tight-knitted circle, Shaun. It's a very tight and small fraternity as well, right? At some point, if you're not very good, you're going to be chopped and traded in this league, and there's only 32 of these teams. There's a high possibility, 1 in 32 possibility, that you're going to be traded to a team that you talk shit about pre-draft. So be careful what you ask for, because if one of those 32 teams says, screw you, I'm not even messing with you, guess what now? You have one less team to choose from in this whole free agency when your ass becomes a bust. So Shedeur Sanders is now hit the news again by saying, the only time he plays with the Browns is on Madden. Now again, Shaun,
hold on. For context, this was just a little clip because they post everything. Just remember, he was playing the game and he just so happened to say this, and now TMZ has run with it. So it's not like he came out and like explicitly said this. Like it's just kind of they run with it. But it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter though, baby. This is Shaun's point. This social media is your resume. It's a screenshot away from lasting forever. That's the problem. That's the problem. See, it's your resume. That's why I tell my players, this is your resume, dog. Stop posting shit. I can screenshot it and keep it, and I'll use this shit in 8 years from now. And I'm just saying, go ahead, Shaun.
Let me give an example, JB. And I wish some of these guys I could mentor, because I just don't think anybody around them knows better. You know, and you know, of course, Deion is Shedeur's dad, but he's not around Shedeur like that now. Shedeur's off with the quarterback coach and Cam doing whatever they're doing. Caitlin Clark, female athlete, right? Caitlin Clark was the NCAA Player of the Year. She was the women's finals player of the game. She was the champion. She was the #1 pick in the WNBA draft. You didn't hear her talking about, I don't want to go to Indiana because they aren't any good. She got selected #1. She went to the Fever. They tried everything to make her crumble and fold. They fouled her. They talked shit about her, and all she did was kept playing basketball. And by the end of the year, you know what? She had earned the respect and all the other stuff that comes with her celebrity. And now look what happened. All of a sudden, this first offseason, man, free agents are flocking to Indiana to play with Caitlin Clark. So my message to Shedeur Sanders and Cam Ward and Jackson Dart and all these young players, like, you ain't did nothing yet. You're just a talent. You're talented, but you haven't won anything from a team sports standpoint. Man, just talk less. The less you say, the more people hear. Like, stop feeling like you got to be in front of the camera and I got to have a comment and opinion when you haven't accomplished anything. Like, just go work your ass off. Like, just go work your ass off. And you know what? Who said the least out of last year's quarterback class? Jaden Daniels.
Yeah, true.
Jaden Daniels. He was the one that didn't say that. Caleb Williams was talking about he wanted a percentage of the team that drafted him. And, you know, this, that, and Jaden Daniels just shut up. And he went out and balled out.
Yeah, no doubt. Here's an issue real quick. I want to run down these teams real quick before we get out of here. We did an ad-lib show, so I just wanted to get you on. I appreciate you on a Tuesday. The Bengals. Tee Higgins, obviously, could he be tagged again is #1 question as today's tagline starts. Quarterback Joe Burrow has been adamant about not letting him go, keeping the big trio together. I think Higgins would be a fool to try to go play with another quarterback because he's obviously going to go to a team that does not have anywhere close to a Joe Burrow spinning him the rock. Can they keep those guys is the question, though. Money-wise, Cleveland Browns, we've been discussing them quite often today. The most notable pending free agents is Nick Chubb. They got Elijah Moore, and they got a left tackle in Jedrick Willis Jr., who could all be brought back on very inexpensive deals. So that would open up some things that would kind of go against your belief in tanking, and they possibly could go after a quarterback or somebody like that and then trade Miles later, or to your point, try to attract someone to keep Myles Garrett and build. The Steelers, staying in the North, AFC North, have a handful of fucking significant free agents, and they declined Najee Harris's fifth-year option last year. So it's unlikely they'll be willing to spend big money on him this year or franchise tag him. And then Russell Wilson nor Justin Fields is worth any steep price at this point, in my opinion, on using a franchise tag on either one of them. So that's another team to worry about. And then Houston Texans, Shaun, before we get out of here, are an intriguing team. I think, and what I've heard is the most intriguing of all is they're going to get Cooper Kupp. And I told Bailey yesterday, I think it makes the most sense. Their former quarterback guy left the Rams. He's now the OC in Houston. I think they're going to run more things similar to McVay and Stafford with a long, big arm, CJ Stroud, get him on the edge, move him around, use that to his benefit. You get a guy like Cooper Kupp to go along with Nico, and then you go get a guy to fill in somewhere, whether it's Mitchie, who they think can play that slot, until Tank Dell gets healthy. You got Schultz. You got Mixon. You still got a core there. A veteran guy like Cooper Kupp meshing with that play caller makes a lot of sense to me over the Raiders, over even the Chargers. I don't think Harbaugh wants to just transition and move to an older guy, or he would have kept Keenan Allen and Mike Williams. I think he realizes Cooper Kupp is very, very vulnerable to injury, and he's over the hump. And so I get making happy players happy, staying in L.A., doesn't have to move. He goes right over from one facility to the other because the Chargers are in the discussion for the Cooper Kupp move. I told Bailey I disagree. I think he ends up in Houston or somewhere else. I don't think the Chargers will take him. I think Harbaugh's got bigger fish to fry. But just having said that, Cooper Kupp's a big free agent this offseason. Do you agree with the Houston move, or do you think he ends up somewhere else?
I don't like him in Houston. Let's go back to the start. You asked about Tee Higgins. Have you ever seen Players Club, Bailey?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So Bernie Mac has a role in Players Club, and he's telling the story of how the stripping game got started. And at the end of it, he says something that Tee Higgins is saying to the Cincinnati Bengals. Fuck that, pay me. Tee Higgins wants to be paid. He watching them not pay Jamar Chase. None of those boys are taking discounts. Trust me.
So you think he's leaving?
100%. Because he's going to get, I don't know if he gets Justin Jefferson money, but he going to get big money in the free agent market. Because people are going to project T as a number one.
I know, and that's the problem. I don't think people are realistic. I don't believe he is a true 1A. I think he's a 1B, and I think Jamar Chase has made him this marketable. If he was without Jamar Chase, I don't think Tee Higgins is even talked about today.
Well, let me ask you this question, KB. Because he may be a 1B if he's on a team with Justin Jefferson or Jamar Chase or one of these guys, if he's clearly your 1A with what you got currently on your roster, then he's worth it.
Right.
I just don't know. But if I take him to anyone other than a Burrow or a Stafford or one of these other teams, he's a guy we're not going to be talking about again in a year.
What does he do for Baltimore? Let's say he goes to Baltimore. What does he do for Baltimore?
Nothing, because you don't have a guy to give him the ball.
You knew that was coming.
I mean, let's say.
Hey, dog, you think Lamar Jackson's going to jit back, drop back, and go, oh, Zay Flowers is covered. I'm going to check. Oh, shit. Andrews is covered. Oh, shit, there's Tee Higgins on my third drop, on my third progression? No. Lamar's tucking the ball and running. Tee Higgins is doing this. Tee Higgins is Tee Higgins becomes A.J. Brown reading the fucking book on the sideline. It's another shitbird waiting to happen.
Hey, man, cut this shit. What if potentially Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes finally figure out that they cannot win another championship unless they upgrade their pass catchers? Tee Higgins to Kansas City.
Listen, I told Bailey this. I said, I hope Tee Higgins goes to Kansas City. I hope Cooper Kupp goes to Kansas City. So in 2 or 3 years, they can say, damn, JB was right. Patrick Mahomes, you're not even fucking close to Burrow or Stafford. Not even close.
Jesus.
And we didn't get the ball. Cooper Kupp can't get shovel passes, Shaun, all goddamn day, and neither can Tee Higgins. Tee Higgins ain't catching bubble and going 80 like Tyreek Hill. This isn't a system for him. It ain't a system for Cooper Kupp. They need either Hardman, Worthy, little guys that can get all the intermediary fucking throws that Andy Reid devises for a gimmick quarterback in Patrick Mahomes versus a straight up drop back Cooper Kupp running routes, hitting them on time.
Hey Bailey, if you post this,
the truth is crazy, huh?
Can you put like an emoji over my face when he's saying that crazy shit? Just so
Shaun,
people know, like that I'm not advocating or supporting this version of JB.
Is crazy. Hey, I think the truth is crazy.
So then he went to the Browns.
It's Molly Haji. No, Mahomes can't throw deep because I don't know who Mahomes is. But yeah, I'm being honest, dog. I'm telling you, I can't wait. I can't wait, Shaun. I hope Tee Higgins and Cooper Kupp both go to Kansas City. I'm just telling you, you're going to be like, damn, JB was right. I can't wait. I just can't wait for it to happen. But it's a free agency. The tag day has started, Shaun. Just before you get out of here, give us your prediction on who you think signs some sort of tag deal today or this week.
I'm very interested in what's going on in San Francisco.
Right.
We have not heard a lot about where they are in the negotiation process. Considering that Purdy was a 7th-round pick and they knew that this was coming, there had to have already been extensive conversations between the Niners and Purdy about a long-term extension. So if they aren't close, can Purdy potentially get franchised in San Francisco? That's the one I'm interested in because he's the young guy that I think is still on the upward tick from a career standpoint. He's not an older, recycled vet. Like, I want to see what his market is. Like, because I'm telling you, if I'm his agent, we're not getting less than Tua. We're better than Tua.
Yeah, it's true.
And if I'm the Niners, I'm like, I'm trying to give you Baker Mayfield deals, so I'd be interested where they end up.
But you got a team that had Ayuk who got hurt, who held out, and was not the guy you thought. And then you got Debo. Debo got heavy. Debo got heavy and was not the product that we thought. He wants out again.
He turned into a fashionista. He was more worried about what he was wearing to the damn game.
And I'm saying that to me, if you sign Purdy and you're saying that Purdy's the guy to get you over the hump without all those other guys, I think you're setting yourself up for failure. The 49ers are going to be a lot.
I'm his agent. I don't give a damn about that.
I hear you.
Get Miami over the hump? No.
I hear you. But remember.
No.
If Purdy was the first overall pick and not the fucking last, I would say your shit holds water. He's the last pick. That's going to hurt him in this re-signing.
Hey, listen. No. And we've been playing on a discount. No, we going to get more than Tua got. Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely. I'm with Shaun. I mean, did Tua lead the Dolphins to a Super Bowl? Let's be real.
Not at all.
Yeah, that's my point. That's a great. You're right.
I was available this year when McCaffrey was out, when Ayuk was out, when Debo was out, when Trent Williams was out. When all these guys was out, I was available. I was in there towing the line.
It's real simple, though. I equate quarterbacks real simply. If I take a guy off on a roster that didn't win it, and I add a guy on that roster, and then we play this hypothetical game, you can really eliminate these guys real quickly. Hey. If I put Matthew Stafford on the 49ers, do they win the Super Bowl? Yes or no? Fucking yes, they do.
Yes.
Goddamn right.
But JB,
no question about it.
I'm not disagreeing with you. I am contextually talking from being the agent of Brock Purdy.
I get all that. I get all that, but my point is the team has to agree with the agent, or they're going to say, you know what, you're a bus rider, Purdy, go chop the market.
So the quarterback market, all these guys been getting overpaid. Herbert, Tua, and now Dak Prescott. Now all of a sudden, my client is gonna be the one where y'all start to have some sense. Oh hell no!
Yeah, exactly.
We want the bag.
Derek Carr's overpaid, under-deliverer. All the quarterbacks are. That's all the quarterbacks, though. These are all the quarterbacks, in my opinion. So I guess to your point, the market is going to pay them. But if they're a Niner and you're a Lynch, who basically has been tabbed a failure GM to this point after the Trey Lance debacle. You're still living in the Trey Lance debacle era, by the way. You made a lot of moves to get Trey Lance, who didn't even play FCS football last year during COVID. You make sure that you realize that you better make a splash this year, or your roster, who is an aging roster at that, has a lot of holes. Fred Warner, a secondary that's getting older, a D-line, Trent Williams. CMC's hurt and banged up, probably not ever going to play again the same way he ever did. Brandon Jennings is your best fucking wideout. This Niner roster is going like this fast, and the Rams is going like this. Seattle's probably like this, and Arizona, even though Arizona's shitty, they're still doing this right now, not this. They did get better. I still think they're the worst team in the division, but they are getting better. So, having said that, the Niners don't have a big window like they did 3 years ago. This roster is aging in front of
the Niners are cooked. Their run is over.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
The rest of the NFC has gotten markedly better.
Thank you.
Age.
So how do you sign Purdy then and lose?
Because that's what the market is. But then remember, the conversation came up because you said, "Who am I most anxious to see today that they start?" That's why I brought Purdy up. To me, that's the most fascinating situation.
But he's not a free agent, is he?
Yeah, he's going to year 4. He's a 7th-round pick.
Okay, so he's year 4. So he's
deal, right?
Yeah, so he's restricted.
Deal, right? Yeah.
Okay, so he's on the list, Bailey. So we'll talk about it next week. But so you think this is the day, or this week he could be tagged?
If they we haven't heard anything about an extension, right?
No.
I would think if they were close to an extension, we would start hearing some whispers.
And his deal runs through 2025, so he's not a free agent. But the extension.
We're not going to nothing, Bailey. We're eligible to get an extension. We have been playing on a 7th-round draft pick deal.
Oh yeah.
I'm not showing up to a Zoom meeting. I'm not showing up to a Microsoft Teams. Nothing. I'm not getting my mail from the facility. Y'all might as well think I'm dead. Y'all will not see the actual in-person version of me until we get this contract right.
Here's the issue I have. That defense who's old right now today, that defense got old over this past year. Old fast. I would argue, just like Kansas City, those two teams were carried by defenses. Purdy didn't do anything to win him a Super Bowl. Either did Mahomes. Their defense got in there.
You're trying to twist my words.
I'm not. I'm just saying.
At no point have I said that I believe Brock Purdy's worth $60 million a year. What I have said is I'm giving the context that I'm his agent. And we're better than Tua, and we're going to get more than Tua got in Miami.
I get it. All I'm saying is you're going to be – if you just said what you said, the Niners are cooked.
They're cooked.
And that's with signing him. I mean, without signing him. If they sign him, then you flip the tri-tip over too many times, and you burnt the shit out of it. If they're cooked now, they're going to be fucking overcooked if they re-sign Purdy to a big deal, because they have no roster cap space to deal with any other free agent. They're going to lose Debo. What are you going to get for Debo? You ain't getting Tee Higgins for Debo.
See, that's the thing, JB. I don't have a joint account. I don't get, half of Ayuk's deposit sent to me. Like, I just got the Brock Purdy account. And right now, with California state taxes and this little bit of money I've been making, it look real rough over here. So I'm getting paid, period.
I get it. And 717 Eric, you're a fucking idiot. They did have the most loaded roster. The Niners did have the most loaded roster for 3 years, and guess how many Super Bowls you got out of it?
Hey, and hold on, JB. Let me make sure everybody in the comments knows what I'm talking about. I am not advocating Brock Purdy being an elite quarterback. I'm not saying that he's the reason San Francisco got to this, that, and the third. What I'm saying is his resume says it's time to be paid based on what the market has represented at the quarterback position.
That's true. If Trevor Lawrence,
I wouldn't have paid Dak Prescott. I wouldn't have paid Justin Herbert that early extension.
I'm the same way.
I damn sure wouldn't have paid Tua. But guess what? They did, and that's the market. And now Purdy's up. Pay me.
I'm with you, and that's my point with this Niner group. They talk about the greatness of Shanahan and Purdy and Lynch and this roster, but the only team that got Super Bowls is in the NFC West is the Rams. So, like, you can talk all that shit about your fucking notorious 49ers, but guess who beat that ass? McVay and the Rams. And who went further this year? McVay and the Rams. And if we could argue, if they run the ball on third down and not get it empty, the Rams are the Super Bowl champs because they probably beat the Chiefs too. Because they were the only team that could have beat the Eagles this year. The Rams.
And so I think they beat the Eagles if it doesn't turn into a damn ice storm.
Yeah, the Rams are the Super Bowl. The fucking Rams are the Super Bowl champs this year. Quiet as kept. But no one wants to talk about that. We continue to talk about those Niners are the loaded roster and Shanahan. Shanahan hasn't won a fucking meaningful game yet. And y'all still keep anointing this sorry motherfucker. He's the most overhyped head coach in the history of the NFL.
Hey, put that emoji over my face when he say that, man.
Hey, you got a bus up. You got a bus riding head coach. You got a bus riding quarterback.
The dude has been to what, 3 Super Bowls?
3 Super Bowls. He hasn't won, but
you got
he's been to 3.
Weird.
You can't say he's overhyped.
Yeah, he is, because McVay went to 2 and 1.
You can say he underachieves. He never makes the clutch shot in the clutch. You can't say he's overhyped.
Well, shit. If I underachieve, I ain't hyped.
But he has taken the team to 3 Super Bowls with Brock Purdy and Jimmy Garoppolo.
Right, and then he lost one. And then he lost one with Matty Ice as the play caller. Don't forget that shit.
No, but I'm saying though he gets credit because it's not like he's had a Tom Brady or Peyton Manning or Drew Brees at quarterback. He's taken some guys that you and me consider average all the way to the Super Bowl. So he can't call the guy overrated.
If you did a deep dive in the Super Bowls that they attended, look at the division those years. And then when they didn't make it, look at the division those years. The teams were actually horrible and rebuilding the years they went to the Super Bowl and represented the NFC versus the years that didn't. Think about it. The Rams and them this year were both the most injury-riddled team in the NFL. One team stopped making excuses and ended up making the playoffs and went on a run, Rams. And one team took a fucking shit dive, the Niners. And it's crazy that we don't talk about that every other year because that's about what the Niners are, every other year team.
That's not fair, JB.
That's over. Niners are done.
Because so you're going to discount Kansas City's run because their division, the Broncos, Raiders, and Chargers.
Y'all discounted Brady. Y'all discounted Brady for 20 years in the AFC East. AFC East was the worst division in football.
No, I have never discounted. You've never heard me say a negative word about Tom Brady.
I'm just saying, everyone talks about the AFC East being the worst division in football in their run. And then when they did lose in the playoffs, they lost to a team outside their division. They never lost to the Jets or the fucking Bills or the Dolphins.
But
they lost to
the
Colts. They lost to Pittsburgh. They lost to some other team out of the division. I'm just saying.
Here's what I don't get about you, and I love you to death. Why can't you speed and just stay in between the lines? Like you like to drive fast and swerve and put us all the way in the ditch. Why you can't
gotta be shitting me, Shaun?
The lines, man?
You gotta be shitting me, Shaun. You gotta be shitting me. You gotta be shitting me. You gotta be shitting me. You know why? Because I got my dad back in the day when he made me. He had some Jamaican rum and whiskey, and then he inserted me with some fucking Truth Serum. He gave me Truth Serum, and I was like, "Fuck, I can't lie. I gotta tell the truth." So Truth Serum comes out of me. And that's just what happens. And a lot of people don't like the truth. It hurts them bad. It hurts these motherfucking fanboys in the chat. Kansas City fanboys, 49er fanboy, they get hurt bad, Shaun. They get hurt bad. They go home so mad, Shaun. They make a troll account. They DM me from an account with 0 followers, no picture. They fucking do all kinds of shit. They're so mad.
Hey, by the way, I haven't been on in a little bit. Sorry about Friday. I was flying back from New Orleans. We got delayed. I thought I was gonna get back early.
So wait, you didn't go to the Super Bowl week, and you didn't show up here, and you didn't show up here, and you didn't go to New Orleans, and then you go to New Orleans after the Super Bowl. Yeah,
Tulane had a charity golf event, so I had to go down there and play in that. But man, you had me dying laughing when you was talking about Ryan Williams had a football cake without the amount of laces on it.
Hey, Shaun, the investment's real, ain't it? The
investment's gone.
How many laces are on a football? Shaun, they're missing a lace.
I was dying laughing.
How do you not know? And by the way, Shaun, the reason I brought that whole thing up, it ain't about the laces. It ain't about the nails. It's the fact that you are baking and cutting a cake.
Hey, you were just about to get canceled too. And then the people was like, we can't cancel this fool. He talking about the laces.
That was awesome.
Hey, man, that was funny. I ain't gonna lie, though. You had me dying laughing. I had to pull over to the side of the road, man. I said, boy, this boy here a fool.
Hey, so if we're going to end the show right now. If you're a betting man, though, and you said Aaron Rodgers goes where are you betting your money at?
I'm going to go here. I'm going to say him and Devontae Adams come back to Las Vegas as a package deal. And pair it with Jacoby Myers and Brock Bowers.
Before you dive into that, if I told you that Devontae Adams is a done deal and he will be an LA Ram, does that take this out of consideration now?
Yes.
Because I talked to Weddle. Weddle talks to McVay. A lot of things going on. I believe Devontae Adams is a done deal. I think Devontae Adams will be a Ram and replace Cooper Kupp, and I love it with Matthew Stafford.
Aaron Rodgers without Devontae Adams, I'm going to say Rodgers ends up announcing his retirement and joins the Pat McAfee show full time.
See, I don't know if he can go out like Willie Lump Lump, though. I don't think he goes out like Willie Lump Lump and having even though he finished top 10, by the way, last year in all stats. He finished top 10. No one will talk about that.
I don't.
So,
but does he go somewhere that they don't have a chance to win? I'm looking at the contending teams. Like, I don't think he goes to a Tennessee or a Cleveland or one of these teams where they don't have any shot.
See, that's why I disagree. See, if you're going to say he's on the McAfee, I say he's McAfee as a Colt for 1 year then. Because that roster is not far. Their defense is good. They got a running back. They got an O-line. They got to go get a couple weapons outside. They got some young weapons. They go get another weapon with Pittman and some other guys. That is a team that I think in a bad division, Shaun, another bad division, that helps him.
Your premise is flawed.
Okay.
Because AR-15 will be the starting quarterback of the Indianapolis Colts in 2025.
That's it on that.
So let me add some context to this. So when you have these young quarterbacks, right, and there have been struggles, there's a portion of the organization that's going to be frustrated. There's a portion that's going to be standing 10 toes. He's coming around. But here's to me what the deciding factor will be. Is the player liked? And the one thing about AR, Anthony Richardson, nobody talks about, people love him in that city, that building. He's a good dude. Like, I think he's a very immature quarterback, but off the field, he's a good dude. He's going to get the benefit of the doubt based off of what he looks like in person and not alone.
Who's the biggest name in Indianapolis right now? Biggest name?
Caitlin Clark.
Pat McAfee.
Caitlin Clark.
Oh, no. It's McAfee.
Oh, my God. Well, it's close.
Pat McAfee is the biggest name. You know who sold his suite to the Indianapolis Colts? Pat McAfee. You know what Irsay needs? Pat McAfee. Without McAfee, who's 2 blocks up from the stadium, talking about the Colts. That Colt fan base and that franchise is struggling bad. And they need Pat McAfee to what boosts the morale there? Aaron Rodgers. On the roster, being on Pat McAfee in Indianapolis, McAfee buys his suite back. Irsay and him make up and hug, and everything's great again in Indianapolis. This is the storyline. I'm sticking to it. Mark it down. February 18th, right here. That's what's going to happen.
And here's my storyline. Anthony Richardson has dropped 10 pounds this offseason. He's excited
and he
for
still
year
can't
3.
read coverage and still can't throw the fucking ball.
For year 3 in Shane Steichen's system. He's let's see, what could he do from a workout standpoint? He went and met with LeBron James in Clutch Sports to find out what LeBron does to stay healthy. Like I'm telling you, that article is coming out at some point this offseason.
You know, LeBron told her. LeBron said, "Hey, try to make a statement and sit out an hour before the All-Star game." That's what he told him. That's what he taught his ass. See, remember, when you're big-time idols, guess what the young kids do? They follow your ass. That he's going to follow the most overrated basketball player in the history of football and basketball, LeBron James. He's going to follow that mindset and be like, damn. It's crazy. LeBron James is you guys call him the GOAT. He can't shoot, can't make free throws, can't fucking do anything. And then he can't go to a clinic right now and teach my son how to shoot a basketball. And you call him the GOAT?
Hey, shout out to the chat, by the way, too. They didn't let you forget about Naptown legend, Darnell Smith. They say Smitty the biggest deal in Indy, baby.
fucking Whitlock. Whitlock and Jeff George is more. Whitlock and Jeff George is more liked than Mike Epps is more liked than goddamn AR5. AR5, they want AR5 out of there so bad. Let me ask you this. We'll end it in 3 minutes, 8:30. Bailey, shit, we already 3 minutes. Let me ask you. If I told you Cooper Rush is a field gap quarterback somewhere, true or false?
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
Where?
I mean, he fits a whole bunch of places. Here's the problem with Cooper Rush. The same problem I have with Andy Dalton. Maybe not at this point in Dalton's career, but the Chicago Bear version of Andy Dalton. These guys still are trying to prove that they deserve Dak Prescott money, that they're like legit starting quarterback. Like they haven't assumed the long-term business plan of I'm cool with making $3-4 million a year for 15 years. So like that's the only thing with Cooper. Sometimes Cooper gets outside of his ability because he's trying to prove that he can do certain things. But I don't have a problem with him. Like if the Giants like Shador, I think they're gonna take Shador, but let's say Cleveland wanted a stopgap. They don't want to bring Jameis back. I have a problem with Cleveland bringing in Cooper Rush on a 1-year deal. I think Cooper Rush and Daniel Jones and those guys, they're all the same type of cookie. One got sugar on it, the other got lemon on it, the other one got chocolate chips.
So you don't think he can go like see, I think Cooper can go to an Indianapolis. I think he can go to Nashville to a Tennessee Titan. I think
Anthony
he can be better.
Richardson is the starting quarterback of the Colts in 2025, JB.
I want to bet you money that he's not.
No, I'm not going that far.
Hey, Shaun, where's your savior and hero in all this? Sam Howell.
So
I don't know
here's
why
what's
that's so
interesting. Some kind of way contractually, either Geno can opt out of Seattle or Seattle can opt out of Geno.
Right. Yeah.
So if I'm Sam Howell, I'm just sitting tight. Like even if I got to back up Geno Smith for another year, I'm gonna sit tight because I'm gonna inherit DK Metcalf and what's the kid from Ohio State?
Smith and Jigba.
No way.
And Kenneth
I don't
Walker.
think that McDonald, a defensive guy, is going to put his stock in Sam Howell because he could be a guy that's 2 and done as
Sam
the coach.
Howell's upside is greater than Cooper Rush and Daniel Jones.
I ain't seen it.
I can't argue.
I ain't seen it. I want to bet though that AR5 is not the starting quarterback.
Is it 5 or 15? Is he 5 or 15?
It don't matter. He's -5 to me. He needs to be.
5.
We need to bet that on BetUS. I'm going to call BetUS and have them put that line in there.
Is he the starting quarterback of the Colts?
Oh,
yeah.
Man.
It's got to be. It's got to be. You're a betting man, Shaun. You're a betting man. If you were to put a line on it, what would it be, like plus 480?
That he's the starter for the Colts? It'd be minus 5,000.
Minus 5,000. That's like
you crazy?
100.
So first of all, he's got to change his nickname. So he wore 15 at Florida. So AR-15, that's an actual gun, right? That's a aggressive, kind of weapon.
You mean? So hold on. You want him to have the gun name, the one that they fine you for doing this on?
No. What I'm saying is, has he changed his number to 5? He changed. There is no AR-5 that I know of. So we got to come up with a new nickname. It doesn't fit.
That's what they've been calling.
They're not giving up on Anthony Richardson yet. I'm just telling you, he'll be the starting quarterback in 2025. Trust me.
I still think the Mormon Milf Hunter has a play. If Marcus Mariota keeps
the Mormon Milf Hunter was
I don't see that
in Denver.
If Marcus Mariota still keeps jobs, then the Mormon Milf Hunter is going to get a job.
Watch this. So here's what Marcus did that I was trying to, like, if Cooper Rush or Daniel Jones are listening to this, I was trying to get him some game. Marcus Mariota been stopped giving a damn about being a starting quarterback. He just learned how to be the best backup in the league. He gonna be in the league another 10 years.
Great point.
Steady collecting them checks.
Teddy Bridgewater, he can coach in the offseason, win a title, and then come back to get Detroit line.
Yep, absolutely. Just get them checks. Hey, Cooper, if you're listening, get them checks. Daniel, I know you got that $150 already, but get them checks.
I would bet money that Kirk Cousins retires before Aaron Rodgers.
Man, Kirk, did you watch any Falcons football this year?
Look at that ball right here. This is disgusting.
Kirk Cousins was ass.
I get it, but look at the ball. Look at the fucking ball. He's holding the ball like the kid held the cake.
Hey, listen, Kirk Cousins was so bad, JB. They benched Kirk Cousins in the middle. I'm talking about of a division title run with like 4 games left for a rookie. That's how bad Kirk Cousins was playing.
Where's Danny Dimes end up?
CFL.
Oh man.
Can you see Danny Dimes in Pittsburgh or Cleveland?
Yeah, I mean anything is possible. But I mean, like, Danny Dimes is in the best spot he could ever be in, somewhere being a backup. He's a Duke guy, so he's articulate. He's
too much money. Too much money.
Listen, here's the thing. Danny already got the bag. And I saw Danny walk out of Giants Stadium after some of the performance like a kid that wanted to cry. I don't know if he ever cares if he's a starting quarterback again, man. They altered the life arc of that young man. Like, that booing got to Danny Jones, man. Them people was talking bad about him. Listen, he's not the same guy that signed that contract.
First of all, he's got to get out of that number. That number is a bad omen. Unless you're Kurt Warner, unless you're Dan Marino, there's not really many guys that can wear 13 and be good.
Yeah, he's scarred. He's a diminished version of himself.
You got to get out of number 13.
Just being one of the guys, man.
You got to get out of number 13, number one. And that's going to have to mean he's going to be gone. He's going to be a Steeler, a Brown, I don't know, Raider.
I do want to say this, JB. If I'm Pittsburgh, there's no way in hell I'm signing back up for another year Russell Wilson. And I'm not saying that because I don't think Russell can play at all anymore. Russell just is extremely limited in the passing game on what he gives you. Anything from 15, let's say from 20 to 12 yards in the middle of the field, a ball would never be thrown in that area as long as Russell Wilson is your quarterback.
Great point, Shaun.
Only time he throws the ball in the middle of the field is he's checking down to the damn back. He's gun shy. He won't let the ball go at times. Like, they need a guy that's going to live on the edge. That conservative shit ain't got Pittsburgh nowhere.
Yeah, hey, Bailey, share the screen. Bailey, share the screen. Shaun, this guy right here still can throw the deep ball.
On play action, one person read sometime, yes. But when it comes to the drop back game and throwing in breaking routes and crossing routes and stuff, he's got to anticipate over the middle of the field. Man, he's ass.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm just saying.
And I just think he makes you too one-dimensional in the passing game for where Pittsburgh is. Now, if Pete Carroll wants to bring him to Vegas and run the ball and throw to Brock Bowers, and I'm cool with that, and get the ship righted.
What about Justin Fields then? I think Justin
needs a special package next year, but one more year to sit and learn. Man, they got billboards in Pittsburgh about get rid of like if you don't. I didn't realize how bad it was in Pittsburgh.
Right.
Because I'm a big Tomlin fan. But
me too.
The Steel City is fed up with Tomlin and this what they consider mediocrity. So
but listen,
I think they got to take a chance.
I don't know how far it is mile wise, but a team in your state just won it all. Of course, they're going to do that.
Hey,
think about it.
Hey, listen. All I'm saying is, if Pittsburgh is trying to get away with the Russell Wilson caliber quarterback, I would go for the gusto. I'm telling you, I'm going Jameis Winston. I don't even mind the Aaron Rodgers play that you mentioned, but I'm going high ceiling guy. Because we got to find a way to be more explosive offensively. Like, they tough to watch at times.
They can't rebuild, and they can't they got to go with the 1 year gap stop, and that's got to be Aaron Rodgers. It's got to be someone like that. Is Arthur Smith still there?
Yeah.
As far as I know.
I'm cool with Aaron Rodgers to Pittsburgh. I don't have a problem with that. I still think they need to get another weapon. They need to get another weapon, though, opposite Pickens.
Yeah. I don't know. Man, it's been a great show. I appreciate you jumping on here. We just wanted to do an ad-lib show since the tag starts today, and I know that there's going to be something we discussed. Something we talked about today will happen this week, whether it's Sam Darnold getting tagged, Purdy, as you mentioned, Aaron Rodgers discussions will light up. The problem with Aaron Rodgers is, before we leave, the Jets are going to have a huge dead cap space hit, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, like 48 mil or something. And so he's another guy. He's another guy, right, Shaun, that can't be moved till June, or no?
Who?
A-Rod.
No, he can be moved March 12th.
Hey, can I make a comment? Bernie's Sports Pub, shut the fuck up. You know what you're talking about.
Oh, man. But yeah, Aaron can be moved after March 12th. He's a June 1st designation.
Which is before the draft.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
All right, I got to go. I'll holler at y'all.
All right, I'll talk to you. Bailey, hey, we had to do it. We did it. Why not? I was sitting around. Why not? I was bored. I was like, fuck it, let's do a show. And we did it. And so we'll be back next Monday for both the Coach AB show with Big Smitty and Slap Nation with Bailey, as we are going to do that. Shout out to everybody over there. If you guys go be a member, the first 10 members are getting a Slap t-shirt. About 4 or 5 of you already emailed us your address, so we'll send you a Slap t-shirt. So make sure you head on over there and become a member to our Slap Nation channel. Bailey will drop the link in there real quick. So go on over there, subscribe if you're not subscribers, and become a member if you're not a member. The first 10 members get a Slap t-shirt for our Slap Nation t-shirt, our show that would discuss all things West Coast, LA football, UCLA, USC. We'll be diving into spring ball and their portal exits and portal entries, plus their coaching hires and fires, and the Chargers and the Rams, the biggest draws here, plus the Lakers and LeBum, and all things Lakers, and the Doyers will repeat as World Series champs, and then the Kings. LA is right now riding high in sports. LA has got a Kings team that's top in points in the NHL. You got the Dodgers, defending champs, plus whatever 280, I think, to recover to win it again. And then you got the Lakers, who are in the mix in the West. I think they're sitting at 4 or 5 right now in the West. See what happens with the Luka deal. So all that will be discussed on Slap Nation. So head on over there, become a member, and subscribe today. Appreciate everybody. We'll be gone. It's my birthday week, Smitty. Bailey, I'm gonna be a bitch, and I'm gonna celebrate it like Smitty does all week long.
All week long.
All month long. I'm gonna be one of these broads. I'm gonna celebrate my birthday all month long. I'm not doing shit, but I'm gonna celebrate it all month long. It's supposed to be 75 degrees out here.
Nice.
Juancito, supposed to be 75 this weekend in Long Beach. I'll be on the yacht. I'll be on the yacht, kicking it all weekend long. All you females, any single females out there, you want to come on the yacht, hit me up. Come on out. And G-string only.
Right. I got a Stanford offensive lineman, Levi Rodgers. He's working for his pro day. I got him joining my show today at 3 p.m. Eastern. If you want to tune in, I kind of break down his process, him getting ready for the draft, what he's looking like, talk about a couple of his teammates, talk about him. He was the center of the Stanford team that beat Colorado coming down from 29 points. So we're going to talk about that a little bit. He's a Patriots guy. He's from Dorchester in Boston. So we're going to talk about New England a little bit. So tune in 3 p.m. Eastern on Bailey Price Media. 12
noon Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern. Go check out Bailey Price Media. Appreciate you, Danny Sanchez, new member. Get a T-shirt. Send us your email, thecoachjbshow.com. thecoachjbshow@gmail.com. That's where you will get a T-shirt. So send your address and size to the Coach JB Show or the Coach JB Show @gmail.com. That's the email you send your size to. If you are a new member, the first 10 members on the Slap Nation will get a T-shirt. Appreciate you guys. Bailey, wrap it up. We're done. I'll see you guys next week. This rest of the week, I'm out.
All right, man. Enjoy the show. Grab you a happy Tuesday. We'll see you guys next week. Peace.